Let's start. Megan McAllister was working on her last Ranger's car for the day, a 2017 Dodge Charger. Most beautiful redheads, standing at 5'7" with a lean fit, yet voluptuous build is getting men to do what they want for them. At the age of 25, with the body of a goddess, that would not all be difficult for her. Most would think of her as a model or celebrity. Other would have more judgmental thoughts such as a stripper or porn star. Not the reality. She was just a woman who loved working on cars. Something she fell in love with when she watched her dad when she was a kid. She would look in awe as he worked his magic. She watched her father customize the engine of a 2002 Ford Focus, then have it beat a self-proclaimed SUP supercar in its dust on a bet. From muscle cars to the latest hybrid, he worked on them all while being a Texas highway patrolman. She loved and respected her father and how he protected and served his community. She wanted to follow in his footsteps, while at the same time doing what she loved, working on cars. She did that by going to some of the best mechanical schools in the country and becoming one of the best mechanics for the Texas Rangers in the process. However, her father would never see where his daughter is now. A sad reality she lives with now. Megan? A voice echoes in the garage. Wiping away the grease from her face, she answers back, "Hey Sal, I'm in here. What's up? I got someone here to see you. You won the lottery or something and didn't tell us." "I'm hurt, you runt." Both let out laugh. Salvador Martin was Megan's mentor when she came into this field. Her father already taught her much, but Sal taught her even more. From how a car should sound, to how it should run. From making a car that hasn't run in decades, to making it run coast to coast if need be. There was a genuine value of trust, respect, and love for her mentor. Sal stood at 5'9", his body muscled and lean from years of working on cars and lifting metal for so long. At 37 years old, he is of Mexican descent on his mother's side and African American on his father's. He had always had a love of cars. His parents met in the underground racing circuit. They both passed their knowledge on to him, and with that, became one of the best custom mechanics in the entire area. He did things to engines and systems that were on the borderline of genius and insane, but all had the common result of speed and power. Celebrities, race car underground, and pro drivers were regular customers. Law enforcement made him go-to-guy to improve their police interceptors. The way he would customize an engine was so skilled, it was only a matter of time when the Texas Rangers would hire him as their own personal mechanic, with a very nice salary. "All right, old man, I'm coming to set this Littler record straight. Just know that if it is the lottery, on principle, I'm buying this place and setting up a bar just for me. Or you can suffer as I drink a beverage in front of you. And there isn't anything you can do." Megan stopped dead in her tracks as she reached the office door. Not saying a word. She sees the face of someone she thought would never see. "You're going to what now? I hear you telling you little." Sal then stopped when he saw the look in Megan's face. He even swore he saw a tear fall from her eye. He then turns to face the woman he called Megan for. Before he could say anything, Megan spoke, her voice cold as ice. "What the hell do you want, Diane?" The woman was taken aback by her tone. Sal noticed how beautiful she was. To his guess, possibly mid to early 40s. "So, you are calling your mother by name now?" Megan, not missing a beat, respond, "Oh, there are so many other things I would not mind calling you, bitch. Dead to me is one of them." Sal saw tears leave the woman's eye now. "Now you caught me in the middle of fixing this car for an officer that protects and serves his community. Someone who cares for other people. Something you and that demon spawn I unfortunately share genes with knows jack shit about." Diane fights back her sobs that threaten to spill out as she speaks. "Why, your sister. Don't you dare call that thing my sister. Angela has been hurt. Some guy she was dating assaulted her. She is critical." Diane paused for a moment before she would speak again. Then in cold fashion she spoke. "Yeah. Well, I hope he had the sense to wear a rubber. No telling what that dirty bitch had." Diane was about to slap Megan when she suddenly balled her fist. She then smiled. "Oh, please do, bitch. Please give me a reason to let out these years of bottled-up anger on that sorry plastic face of yours. I'll gladly send you to your sorry-ass daughter as a roommate, bandaged and all, with a smile, you bitch." Diane then fell to her knees, Sal Barley catching her in time before she hit the floor, looking at his pupil in shock as he hears the words that come out towards her own mother. In tears, Diane looked at Megan and asked, "How could you hate us so much?" Megan knelt to her face and spoke. "Because you and that bitch of a daughter of yours killed my dad. When all he did was love you." Megan then stood up. "Now get out of here, before I have an urge to make a family reunion by sending you to the hospital as your sorry excuse of a daughter's roommate, bitch." Megan then looked at the broken women with disgust. "The hell are you waiting for? Get out of my sight. With that, Diane gathered herself and stood up. Her expensive jacket now dirty, her makeup ruined by her tears. Sal tries to assist her, but she politely declines. As she wipes away her tears and leaves through the door, she pauses. Megan, I'm so sorry. Then leaves, not looking back. As Diane steps into her car, Megan goes back to work onto the car. Sal was left in shock with what he had just witnessed. He has known Megan for over 4 years. She was always kind and compassionate. Man, woman, or child talking to her was like talking to your best friend who would do anything for you. Yet he never imagined that the young woman he would call student, friend, whom he cared for so much was capable of such cruelty. Sal knew he had to talk to her. There was no avoiding that. As Sal approached, Megan was in the process of securing a new router after getting the old one off. Man, holy hell, that was a bitch to get that off, you know? That's why you got to savor the moment when you get a new one on. Megan, Sal spoke up. I mean, that damn router just didn't want to get off. Thought I was going to have to hit that bitch off with a mallet. Megan, fortunately, through the grace of God, I put an entire can of EW40 on there, and it came off nice and smooth. As Sal looked closer, he saw the tears in Megan's eyes and watched as they fell, telling on her as she attempts to hide her emotions through humor. I can have this, bad boy, done in. Sal just held her. Honey, stop. It is okay. You let it out. And let out she did. Every memory, every moment of heartache, pain, helplessness, and tragedy she let out. She cried harder than she has in years. Ever since that time years ago. When it was over, she spoke in Sal's arms, attempting to gather herself. Sal, I'm sorry for that earlier. You should not have seen that. Not here, not your place. Just seeing her brought back so many emotions. I could not control. Sal just hushed her. You are one of the kindest, generous people I have ever met. I may not be a fan of what you said, but I trust that there was a reason you said it. You want to talk about it? Megan looked up to her mentor, her eyes red from crying. Yeah, I think I would like that. Sal then helped her up. Both closed the shop for the day. When they were done, Sal brought her to his office. She sat on the couch and took a deep breath. And she would begin the story that was once upon a time in her life. Elsewhere, Robin awoke in her bed. She looked down at her husband, who was still asleep. She lightly kisses his head, thankful for his love and support. Sleep tight, my love. I'll make breakfast. She then puts on her pajamas and heads out of the bedroom. As she walks, she smiles at the children, still asleep in their rooms. She could not help but feel so happy, wondering if this was a dream. As she prepares breakfast, she turns on the radio, hearing her favorite song, Salvation, from the band The Cranberries. As she flips the pancakes, the radio begins to change frequency, for some reason, then dies silence. Robin was confused. What the hell? Then without warning, she hears a voice. Robin, baby. Stay on, it's baby. Don't sleep too long. Robin froze as she recognized the voice. Mom? Suddenly Robin is shot in the sternum, bringing her down to the floor. Paralyzed, she can't move. She then sees an armed squad dressed in black tactical gear storm the house, faces completely covered. She then hears her family in distress. She can't move, can't see anything going upstairs, but she can hear it all. She hears her husband, Andy, fight bravely against one of the men, only to hear a shotgun blast, followed by his body falling down the stairs, his eyes looking into nothing as the hole in his chest is evident. No. Baby, no. But no matter how hard she tried, Robin could not move. Her spine was hot in half. She then hears the children crying over their father being murdered in front of them. Then 2 shots, and their cries are no more. Robin screams in crushing heartbreak and pure rage all in one. But no matter what, she still cannot move. Then one of them came downstairs. She can tell it is a woman by her figure and movement. The woman slowly walks to Robin's layout body. Robin could not see behind the mask, but she knew the woman was smiling. She then brings the smoking gun that killed her family. As Robin stared into the barrel, the radio went off again. Stay on it, baby. Don't sleep too long. Then the trigger was pulled. The sound of lightning woke Robin awake from her slumber. Too shocked to screamed, yet awake in a cold sweat. She even checks herself to see if she had been shot, almost pulling out her Beretta in the lower drawer of her nightstand in the process. She looks immediately at the other side of the bed. Wave of relief wash over her as she slowly cries. Andy awakens to her tears. Robin, baby? What is wrong? Robin just wraps her arms around him. Just hold me, baby, please. Just hold me. And Andy did just that, hold his wife, assuring her it was all a bad dream, that he and the kids were okay, as he listened to the details that Robin shared. Husband and wife basked into each other, as Andy calmed Robin down, and Andy wiped away her tears. He then looks into her eyes. "What bothering you, beautiful? Talk to me." Robin did not want to burden Andy with her problems. Security wasn't an issue. She trusted Andy with her and the kid's life over 1,000 times. But she just did not want him to worry. But looking back into his eyes, she knew that time had passed. "Okay, baby, I'll spill. I just found out that woman was a part of an ultra-feminist terrorist group. They are named in different cells, under one umbrella fighting for the same cause, the slavery or eradication of all men. They believe men are the cause to the world's and women's pain and suffering, and they have a track record of killing and ruthlessness. I met Sheriff Justin Miller a few nights ago at the morgue. He dealt with them months ago. There was even a news story about how a higher-up in his district was ruthlessly abused by his wife and 2 incest accomplices." Andy had a grim look on his face, taking all this in. They are known for infiltrating the highest positions in all fields and demographics. They have tried to kill lawyers, politicians, police, women who don't agree with their warped view, innocent people. Andy then spoke. "I want to show you something." Robin looked confused but allowed it. When he came back, he came with something that looked like a bug at first, but after looking at it closer, it was made partially of metal. "Is that a radio bug?" "Yes." Todd was doing his routine swipe to head to a job in our indoor office garage. Good thing he kept his habit. He found this and under the dashboard. We both did a sweep in the entire house. Thankfully, nothing is here. We are going to do the same with the entire staff and have a meeting about it tomorrow. It was never used. He destroyed it, in the process of tracing its origins from the date we have. He says he has a computer friend looking at it. Robin gave a solemn look to Andy. "I want you to call Tim. I think we need to let the kids stay with him and his family for a bit." Andy took her hands and nodded. "Absolutely. Whatever this is, Robin. It is big, and we will fight it together." Back at the garage, Sal and Megan were finishing up cleaning the garage for the night. Megan didn't live too far, and Sal lived on the property. He offered Megan a Coke for a drink. She opened the can and then began her story of why she spoke to her mom the way she did. "I was the youngest, believe it or not. I'm not even from here originally. I'm from Baltimore. At least I was born there. My older sister Jackie was born when my folks were in high school. She was an accidental baby. But despite being so young, my parents loved each other. My dad, Dean, was the smart jock. He played lacrosse but was gifted in engineering and building. The thing he liked to fix and build just happened to be cars. My mom was a typical popular girl. Guys fell for her by the dozen because she was so hot. Somehow her dad and she met at a school function. I don't know the details, but to my understanding from my dad's words, it was love at first sight. Then, Jackie was born. My mom lived with her aunt at the time since her folks were dead via car accident. So, she always felt like she was stuck with a bill or something. Thinking back on it now, I think that has something to do with Diane being such a bitch. My dad lived with his parent, of course, who were loving and supportive. Since they had the room, they offered my great-aunt money to let Diane stay with my dad and them. She took the money just to OD over some bad shit in Fayette. Dad was determined. He wanted the best for his family. Even at that age, he had more maturity and drive than I seen in most adults. One of the reasons I loved him so much. Megan took a moment to wipe away her tears, irritated at herself for still crying. I was born 4 years later. Dad graduated high school 2 years ago early by taking extra credit classes and attending summer school. Mom took night classes while taking care of Jackie and got her diploma that way. Mom and Jackie developed a bond with each other, like 2 peas in a pod. But I was a daddy's girl the moment I was born. He used to say that when I came out, I was loud, so loud that he thought my lung was going to pop out. But the moment he held me, I just smiled at him. Said it was the most beautiful thing he ever saw. Dad was working for the Baltimore Police Department for a time. He said he just wanted to help people. Despite the crazy things he saw, he never brought it home. Mom worked at an entry-level position for an executive company. They were known nationwide, Avalon Industries. Mom and Dad were 4 years in their professions at that point, and Grandpa and Grandma helped raise Jackie and me when they were working. Life honestly was good at that point, until it wasn't. Mom and Dad were working when someone broke down the door. Some guy broke into the house and began ransacking it, looking for something to steal. My grandma heard and went to check it out. The guy saw her and stabbed her to death in a panic. My grandfather just came back from the tool shop when he saw Grandma. He struggled with the man, but he was too strong. Despite the shots he gave him, one stab was all it took to bring him down. I saw everything. I was 3, but I still remember it all. He was going to kill me since I witnessed it. I was crying, then heard a pop sound. The man stopped there. He turned around to face Grandpa, and he was holding a .38. Grandpa then fired the remaining 5 shots, and the surprised man fell dead. I was so scared, and my heart was broken. I loved my grandparents. I built as much a bond with them than I did Dad. And now they were gone. We were all devastated, epically me. But Dad was the one who kept me together when everyone else just didn't know what to do. After the funeral, Dad wanted to change. Mom had a job offer in Texas, just came out of nowhere. A visiting executive from Texas, Matthew Bronson, saw her work for the company and offered a job for her to transfer. And Dad had a good reputation with Baltimore PD, and his captain put in a good word for him near Austin, so it was settled. I remember how big it felt coming here for the first time. I was only 5 but excited at the same time. And I think this was when me and my dad got closer. Whenever I got hurt, he was there to help and aid me but taught me to avoid it next time. He helped me with my first science project in 6th grade. I remember how proud he was when I won the science fair. We built a small engine for a model 1960 Aston Martin DB4. When I got bullied in 9th grade, he taught me how to defend myself. Not just with some boxing moves, but with my mind. He taught me to be confident in myself, that I did not need anyone's validation, because his love for me was enough. Every drama, or day I felt low, every question I had that I could not answer, he was there for me. My mother and I did not hate each other or anything. I loved her. She was my mom after all. But we were not as close as I was to Dad. Diane bonded with Angela after all. Angela had a rebel streak for some reason. She had to be that one girl, you know. Outshine everyone, and if you did not like it, too bad. I remember when she started going on date with some of the guys at school, and they were complete losers. Drug addicts, dropouts, or guys that did illegal shit. For some reason, she had a thing for bad boys. Every time Dad argued with her, she would call Mom to save the day. Diane would always come up with some bullshit excuse. It's a phase. She is still young and learning. Some bullshit like that. Next thing you know, all 3 were arguing. Angela ended up getting a reputation as a fast girl, and it was embarrassing to the family. Diane wasn't too crazy about it, but kept her mouth shut for her golden child. I just never understood. Don't get me wrong, me and Dad had our bond, but he loved my sister as much as he loved me. He did everything for her. Helped get her first car. Got her a concert ticket for her favorite band when they were in town. Comforted her when her first boyfriend dumped her, and she was called a 304 in front of the school. When she was sick, he stayed by her bed in the hospital every night for every day, because she was cared about being alone, and Mom was away on a business trip. He even saved her life when a car lost control and came right for her. He carried her out of the way like a superhero. All this and more he did for her. Yet she became such a bitch to him in her teen years. She even told him to stop embarrassing her when he told her he loved her so much in front of her friends. Dad, I'm not a little kid anymore, okay? You're embarrassing me. She didn't see it, but that broke his heart when she did that to him. I wanted to wring her neck, but Dad held me back with a smile, despite the tear I saw falling from his eye. She would stay out late. See guys he told her not to see. Wear clothes that show more than they should, or at least try to. Lost count how many times Dad would march her back upstairs until she wore something decent. The tension was just high in that house at some point. One night I was watching TV when I heard this loud boom upstairs. It was Angel's door. Dad had just come home and found out something from his fellow police. Angela was hiding drugs for a known drug dealer. She would let him hide his stash for her in her book bag, then let him come to her and pick them up. Dad lost it. It was the first time in years he spanked her. Diane tried to stop him, but he shut that down. When it was over, Angela was grounded for a month. They could prove the drugs belonged to the guy she was seeing, so they had to let him go. Apparently, they had sex at some point, and she was head over heels for him. Years go by, and it was on again off between those two. I was 12 at this point. Angela was 16. She and the guy had planned to go to the prom, but Dad got wind of it, and he forbidden it from happening. But that wasn't enough. He found out the guy just turned 18, meaning my sister was a minor. Dad got hold of him and warned him that if he came near her, he would go to the cops. The guy, seeing that he had no choice, he followed Dad's orders. When Angela heard this, she went nuts. She screamed how much she hated Dad for all he did, how she wished he was dead. Then she said something that got my attention. "You'll pay for this." I did not know what she meant then, but I knew in time she would. Prom came. Dad took pity on her and let her go. He knew the guy wasn't going to show up. Angela looked nice in her dress and took pictures with her friends before the limo picked them all up. I was watching TV with Dad when we heard a knock on the door. "Mr. McAllister?" "Yes. Sir, we have a warrant for your arrest in the charge of sexual assault on a minor." To say we were shocked was an understatement. Dad tried to plead his case and told him he himself was a cop and would never do that. Mom was there, but had a strange look in her eye, like she knew something we didn't. I was crying and I still remember Dad telling me, "It's going to be all right, baby. I'm going to get this sorted out." We ended up finding out later that Angela told Mom that Dad was molesting her, and she believed she had no questions asked. Dad's life was ripped apart. Even after he posted bail, he was put on leave from his positions with the police department. Angela stuck to her story about how Dad touched her when no one was looking. She even claimed that he touched me as well, and I was his favorite. It wasn't until the defense brought in a specialist to interview her. Eventually, she confessed to making the whole thing up because Dad kept that guy away from her. It also probably helped when she found out the guy was cheating on her the whole time. All charges were dropped, of course, but the damage was done. My dad was never the same after that. My own mother judged him, the man she claimed to love, for her golden child who could do no wrong. Even though I was only 14, I fought my sister that night when we came home. Even then, when I was beating the shit out of her, Dad saved her. Even then he loved her, but she destroyed a big part of him. After that, things were different. Dad would still smile at me here and here, but I could tell he was hiding how hurt he was. For his own daughter to lie about him like that. Even though the charges were dropped, people still looked at him like he was some kind of monster. I got in my share of fights because some bitch would call my dad a sicko. Her nose was not exactly healthy by the time I was done with her. But after everything happened, it was not the worst part. One day me and Dad were going to the mall to pick something up for Halloween. It was one of the few things I could still share with him. I knew I was too old, but I loved handing candy out with him. He would smile so much while handing candy to kids. I remember telling Dad I forgot my wallet. Kind of needed that since it was going to be a full day at the mall today. Dad drove back, but when we arrived, we saw another car on the driveway. We knew it wasn't Angela's. It was a 1974 Ford Mustang, mint condition. Dad went inside the house, telling me to wait in the car. But no way was I going to let my dad fight this alone, whatever it was. When we walked in, we could hear it. The sound of someone having sex. I was 15 and a virgin, but I wasn't stupid. Dad had this weird look on his face, a look I could not read. All I know is it scared me. Dad opened the door to the bedroom, and he saw Diane riding Matthew for all she was worth. The same Matthew that recommended the transfer for her. She was so into it that she didn't even see us. It wasn't until Dad threw a wine glass on the wall near them that they stopped. I can still hear that bitch and her excuses. Baby, wait, it is not what it looks like. Dad was looking at Matthew with her though. The gears in his head were working, putting a memory onto his face. Then it dawned on him. It was her boss that got her out here in the first place. The same one who recommended her to this office. The man was arrogant. So, you walked in on us, huh? Why don't you be a useful husband and get your wife and me a drink? And take that kid with you. After that, Dad just saw red and rushed the guy. The guy was in good shape, mind you, and he had Dad by a few pounds in solid muscle. And I remember one time he claimed to be an expert in mixed martial arts. Whether he was or not, it did not help him that day. Dad beat the living shit out of him. Mom tried to stop him, but he just pushed her face away, tossing her across the room. She ended up calling the police. By the time they pulled him off him, the guy was battered and broken. 2 broken ribs, a broken arm and hand, a broken leg, 2 black eyes, a shattered jaw, broken eye socket, busted testicle, and severely damaged groin, along with a broken nose with a concussion. His arrogance didn't help him that day, and he would never be the same. But to be honest, I could care less about that piece of shit. Far as I was concerned, he got off the light for destroying my family. The guy ended up pressing charges against my dad. My mom invited him in, so he wasn't seen as an intruder. Plus, with the damage he put on him, he would never be able to have children if he wanted to. But the real kicker was not just the fact Diane had had an affair with him since we moved to Texas all these years, but that my shit sister knew about it and hid it all this time. She would even go on day trips with them. Pictures would be found on her Facebook and Instagram. Pictures of kissing in restaurants, and her stupid smile as if she is a cheerleader or mascot. Dad ended up getting 5 years for assault. Despite him being a police officer, he would be sent to the same place where he sent so many criminals. I kept my distance away from my mother and sister. I so wished I could move away, but I was only 15 after all. I was stuck here. Mom tried to reconnect with me. Not sure if it was out of guilt or some weird sense of validation, but I wanted nothing to do with her after that. As far as I was concerned, they could be done by a group of guys like the bitch they are. I couldn't care less at that point. I saw them as roommates. I had to deal with nothing more. I made sure I sent those photos to the guy's wife though. He got as much a beating in divorce court than the one my dad gave him. Matty Boy was also fired and sued by my dad and other parties as well. Despite Dad being put in prison, he won the lawsuit and divorced my mother officially. Dad would end up putting the money from the lawsuit in a trust fund for me when I was 21. My sister and mom didn't get a dime of that money. Apparently, Matthew had a thing for betting married women. Last I heard, he ended it with a shot of whiskey, followed by a shot to the head with his .357 Magnum. Could not have happened to a better person. Life went on, of course. I stayed away from my bitch of a sister and trash pile of a mother. My time was when I wrote Dad, and he wrote me back. Even inside prison, he knew the right words to say. After everything he'd been through, he still had love in his heart, and not completely cold. Far from it, actually. I even visited him sometime with Mom. We never talked, and Angela usually stayed home. We would talk about how he could get out early, and he would take full custody of me. The guys in the department knew some people who could give him a good job. We were going to be okay. Until we were not. Dad was inside for 8 months at this point. I was waiting for his call, but it never came. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Mom answered it. I saw her talk to the police officer, then she began to cry, turning to me. I demanded to know what happened, but she could not say. Then the officer spoke. I'm sorry, honey. Your dad saw a correctional officer get assaulted. He saved her life, but he got stabbed. He didn't make it. I'm so sorry, honey. I fell to the floor in shock. I could feel myself crying, but then I don't remember much after hearing that. A few images. My mother was crying, and sister was consoling her, me screaming. From what I was told, the officer had to pull me off my mother. I slapped and punched her as hard as I could. And when my sister tried to stop me, I punched her in the nose, breaking it. I came to as the cop was helping me up. After I calmed down, Angela wanted to press charges, but the cop responded. Why should I press charges for you falling down the stairs? Getting the heartbreaking news was devastating. A smile came to the officer's lips, as did mine when I saw he defeated in her eyes. They remembered what she did to Dad, and don't take horrific false claims like that to heart, especially if it's not just one of their own, but a good man. I then spoke to her and my mother. You're not my family. We just live together until I'm legal to leave on my own. And I meant every word. After the funeral, I didn't say a word to them. If I needed money, I would work. If I needed clothes, food, anything, I bought it. By the time I was 18, I had my trade school planned out due to scholarships. I was top of my class. My grades were so good, I didn't need to spend a dime. Pulse Dad gave me $500,000 and my sister $7,000. When it was time to leave, most of my supplies were already shipped off to the school I was going to. The clock struck 12, and I moved into a local hotel, without saying a word to Diane or Angela. They would argue, of course. Angela would try to force me to tell her where I live because her buddy mom missed me. I told her to screw herself, then punched her in the face. I left her holding her face without a word. I ended up doing what Dad did and got my school credits early. I got my diploma, then I took the next plane out of town. Last I heard, they tried to find me at graduation. Too bad they were a few months too late. Ever since then I have never seen or heard from them again. At least until today. Sal watched the young woman he had taken under his wing. He saw her pain and anguish, her very anger when she spoke the names of her mother and sister. They were lucky to get that much of an acknowledgement. After what seemed like ages, Sal spoke as he held her. I don't blame you for feeling the way you do. Megan looked at him. Her eyes filled with both the redness of her tears and curiosity. Then Sal spoke again. Hell, I think most people would agree with your sentiment. There is nothing wrong with sharing your emotion with the one who caused you so much pain. In fact, good for you. But I must warn you, hon. I'm nowhere near sainthood. But I have seen what happens to those who are consumed by such hatred. Hate that eats them alive until there is nothing left but a shell capable of destruction. Not even humans anymore. From friends in the world of outlaws who live outside society norms, to people in society's highest and lowest levels. I saw a preacher kill his wife's affair partner and paralyze his wife as he smiled in the courtroom, despite the facer was sentenced to life. I have seen mothers who have killed their own babies for the sole purpose of hurting the father who no longer wants them. And I have seen gang members shoot up houses full of innocent people just to kill one person. Again, you have a right to be angry, Megan. Absolutely you do. But do not let the hate that you feel for them cost you your very humanity. Believe me when I tell you, it does not end well, hon. Megan held on to his words, then on to him. It did not occur to her that they were both holding on to each other for a long time. She then began to realize how hard his body was against her own. She wanted to leave at first, a feeling of overstaying her welcome. But another part of her wanted him to stay with her, to help her heal this inner scar of hers. She then saw that her face was close to his. Sal spoke first. Let me take you home, Megan. To say you had a trying day is an understatement. A flustered Megan nodded in agreement, despite the fact a part of her wanted him to take her right then. Yeah, that might be best. The two then removed each other from their embrace. As Sal drove her to her apartment, she thought about what he had said, taking it all into account. Her animosity, her hate towards her family. But could she forgive them? Could they rebuild? We are here. Megan was taken out of her stupor at that moment. As Sal walked her to her apartment, she gave him another hug. Thank you, Sal, for everything. Not just hearing my bullshit broken violin story either. Just thank you. Sal gave a chuckle. For a broken violin, you got good taste in music. Jokes aside, it is no problem. If you ever need anything, just let me know. The two then let go, and Sal watched as she stepped inside, closing the door. As the evening ended, and both went their separate ways. Both could not ignore what took place that night, and both knew that things between them would never be the same again. Elsewhere, Tim Kelly awoke next to his beautiful wife Janine. As he lays there, he admires the beautiful sight of her pleased body. He wears a white sleeveless nightgown that barely covers her luscious bottom, revealing everything. He peacefully slumbers. He smiles at the thought of them having sex earlier that night. How he pleasured her so well, she could not control the sound she made when her body told on her. He also gave a slight chuckle as he recalls teasing her about said sound. When it looked like she was irritated, he cuts her off by kissing her deeply, telling her how much he loves making her sound like that, then igniting another session of love-making. The thoughts pleasing him as he gathers himself. He lightly kisses his wife's forehead, a pleased light moan escaping her lips as he leaves the room to go see his boy. He sees his boys Mark and Patrick asleep on the couch, defeated by their Star Wars marathon. He stands there, smiling at the sight, seeing his boys in such peace. 2 years, he thinks to himself. 2 years since they came after my family. The shock, the heartbreak, the blood. Oh, the blood. He thinks about how those people terrorized his family, how they kidnapped his son and then Karen, how they brutalized her, traumatized his son, and violated those 3 girls along with his wife, how they mocked and degraded her, how violated and explored every orifice of Karen. Then to top it off, choked her to death with a belt around her neck, as the sick bastard who was violating her was still inside her getting his rocks off. He recalls the sight of it all, her lifeless body and hoisted up by the belt in his hand, bringing her back to life, brutality killing all who were responsible. He can still hear their cries of anguish of the horrors he and his men did, especially the one who killed her. He made all of them suffer, but he got the worst of it. You can tell a lot about a person when you brutalize a person so much, they beg you to die. The things he did to all that dared hurt his family would be something from a horror film. It would give the strongest nightmares, making them sick to their stomach. That day made him realize just how dark he is capable of being. And as he takes a sip of his orange juice looking at his boys, then the direction of his bedroom where Janine, he says to himself, and I would do it again if I had to. Suddenly his thoughts are interrupted as the phone goes off in the kitchen. Not wanting his family to be disturbed, he picks it up. Hello? Hey Tim, my guy. How the hell are you? It's been a while. Tim hears his best friend and responds to him. Holy hell man, it's been ages. Nothing much, just the same old this and that. What's up? Nothing man. I just got this new client and I loaded. At this point I'll be Vegas bound in no time. Well, hell man, don't leave me in suspense. When are you leaving? I think I'll take a flight on the 23rd. Sounds good man. Congratulations on the new client. You think we could bring some friends for old time's sake? Of course man. Would not be much of a party without them and all. Hell, let's bring some new ones for the hell of it. Party time up in the bitch. Tim paused for a moment before continuing. Wow, man, it is going to be great seeing you again, my guy. Keep me posted on the trip. Take care, man. With that, Tim hung up. He then immediately woke up his wife. Janine was groggy when she was awakened. Tim, what is it, baby? We got to get dressed. Andy just gave me a coded conversation. Something is wrong. I need to take you and the boys to the family farm. I'm going to wake the boys up. Call your dad and family and tell them to meet us there. I think something big about to happen. I already prepared for this. Suddenly Janine held on to her husband with fear in her heart. Oh my God, Tim, not again. I'm scared, baby, but know that no matter what this is, I'll fight for you. Kill for you and the boys if I must. Tim held his wife and kissed her passionately. I don't have any doubt about that, beautiful. No, get ready for me, okay? We will talk more later. With that, Janine did as Tim ordered, as he took care of the boys. He told them that they were going on a trip to see the family for a bit and go camping. The boys celebrated with that. They loved camping after all. Tim was just glad to not worry them as much as possible. Patrick was heading to the truck when Tim stopped him. "Hey champ, we are going to get some exercise in today, and we're that energy off. So, we are walking to the pickup spot." Patrick was confused a little bit, but he didn't argue. 2 miles into the night, Tim and his family reached the pickup spot, making sure there was no sign they even left the house. Their cars were still in the driveway, lights still on inside. Eventually, Tim and his family reached the meeting spot at an old gas station that hadn't been used in years as 2 vans came up. Members of Tim's family embraced him as they assisted him inside the van. Tim and his family were in one van, while another followed him as armed backup. Janine then spoke when the boys were asleep. "Tim, what did Andy say?" Time took a moment. "Andy has received a threat to him and his family. And the fact that he contacted me means that we, Karen and the boys, are in danger as well. He and I are going to meet up tomorrow at a location only we know about. He brings people he trusts, and by default I trust them. Andy is a stand-up guy who proved himself more ways than one. And we all are going to come up with a plan on how to deal with this threat." Tim felt Janine's grip tighten. "No matter what, Tim, I'm with you. I called Dad, and everyone like you said should arrive at the same time as we do. Procedure as follows." Tim brought her in and kissed her head. "That good, honey, whatever this is, whoever this is, they will not hurt us but will leave with more than regret." The family farm was coming up in view. It seemed serene despite it being 3 in the morning. The full moon eerily shines on the area where all the bodies were burned and buried. It looks no different than a regular meadow with the greenest grass. Not the mass gravesite it was. Tim and his family settled in their own room, as Janine's family settled in their own. As Janine fell asleep in Tim's arms, he could not help but wonder, who the hell is behind this? Back at the Kelly house, Raul spots a black van approaching the home. He then sees 4 men leave the van, dressed in black, weapons out. They force their way inside, looking for the family they were told to take, but kill the husband if he resists. The driver stayed outside, however. When Raul saw that all the armed men were inside, he flipped the switch in his hand. Inside the home, a remote-powered candle holder was turned. No one noticed the gas line was completely exposed and open. The explosion enveloped and destroyed the house completely, along with the crew inside of it. The derived and the van were thrown back from the blast. The driver came outside of the van when he was taking a smoke. His body busted and bruised, and his eardrum was damaged, but he was alive despite it. As he attempted to get up, he met with a .45 caliber 1911 handgun to his face. "Gee, mister, you don't look so good." The man was both surprised and terrified as the flames danced around him, the explosion still ringing in his ear. Before he could say anything, Raul's boot makes its introduction to the man's face, knocking him out. He is then tossed into another van, and the door is shut tight as it rides off. The van is already on the highway by the time Raul sees the fire trucks come in the opposite direction. He then makes a call. "Hey man, I got the new game that came out. Come by to check that shit out." With a smile on his face, he looks at the unconscious man. "Wonder what secrets you have." The following morning, Megan wakes up in her bed. For reasons unknown, she looks to the side wondering if someone was there. She then thinks about what happened last night at the shop. Her mother Linda arrived, saying that her sister was assaulted by a date, and the response she gave her after the news. The storms of emotions and memories that brought back to her in full force and the tears that followed, and how Sal confronted her. In her time of need that she needed someone to be there for her. She then thought back in the years she had known him. He was always there for her. Times that she felt like a failure because of a job mess up. How a suspect got away because their engine was faster. Not having a family to go to when the world feels like it would crush her. And to be honest, she always found Sal attractive. She would recall conversations with female law enforcement who were waiting to pick up their ride about how hard and sexy Sal's body looked when he was in his sleeves, shirt on hot summer days. She bites her lips as she imagines him touching and pleasing her body. But then he recalls when he backed away. Why? Did he not kiss me? Does he think I'm too young? The thought crosses her mind again and again. Megan has always been stubborn. She hates the idea of being stuck in limbo. Something happened last night, and she and Sal must talk about it. Even if it means her job and losing him forever, she had to know where they stood. Sal woke up groggy, yet surprisingly without the aid of alcohol. What happened last night was a shock to him. He heads to the bathroom to shower and prepare for work. Despite only having 6 hours of sleep, he knew he had to start the day due to a call-off. As he dries off, he looks into the mirror, as if preparing a conversation with himself. Then, okay, What the hell happened last night? You have an employee who trusts you and cares about you, and vice versa. Have an emotional breakdown after her bitch mother pays her a visit. She then opens to you because she trusts you. And what do? Damn near make out with her. What the hell is wrong with you? Do you want to be sued for being a weirdo? Not to mention there is the age gap. She is 25, you are 37. I'm surprised Chris Hansen from Dateline's Catch a Predator hasn't popped out yet, perv. After he was done with his tirade, he dried his face off, but didn't feel any better. He knew what he felt last night. He also knew what she felt too. He could see it in her eyes and body language when he held her and looked in his eyes. She wanted him to take her right then, and he knew it. But he had just had such an emotional day. He didn't want to take advantage of her. He cared about and respected her too much to do that. Still, he knew there was no hiding what happened. He was going to have to talk to her, to apologize for rushing her, but not for what he felt. He was not sure what was going to happen. Will she file a sexual harassment suit? Will she laugh in his face? Or maybe, whatever happens, he was going to be honest. Because after last night, things will never be the same between the two of them. Andy was at the meeting place as he instructed through code. It was a rundown abandoned train-themed casino. They decided to make this a meeting place from here on out. Andy made sure the children were safe at the compound, and one of Tim's family picked them up at midday. The trackers that were found were tossed in moving dumpsters. Todd laughed at the idea of the ones who were tracking them, finding themselves in the city dump running their fancy clothes and equipment. When it was time to meet Tim, Andy and company were waiting for him in the old casino. Tim drove up by himself in an old Plymouth Sundance. Nothing that would bring attention, but a custom engine that would outrun most practical cars if needed be. He then saw Andy and his company. He saw Texas Ranger Robin, Todd whom he recognized, but he also saw a man he never met before. He was an older man in his early to mid-50s, with an eye patch on his eye. One look at him, and Tim knew he was a killer. The only reason he didn't draw his weapon was because Andy vouched for him, and despite his gritty demeanor, that was all he needed. The first thing Tim did was greet his friend Andy in a tight embrace, followed by Robin, the woman who was the reason that he was able to save his family. I'm sorry about Xavier, Robin. He was a good man. A tear came down her eye. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate that. Tim then hugged and embraced Todd, thanking him for keeping his boys and Karen safe and loved. Then he brought his attention to the new face of the group. I'm not going to lie, when Andy said he was bringing friends, I was not expecting you. Justin smiled a little. What were you expecting? Some guy in a leather trench coat and sunglasses? Tim responded, not going to lie. Some Neo moves would be rather cool and helpful right about now. Both men laughed, realizing that they can trust each other after this strange test of banter and camaraderie. Then in a voice Andy spoke up, okay, let's get down to business. For the past month we have been dealing with a very connected group. It started when I opened my new practice taking on a client, Baxter. His wife was having multiple affairs, both men and women. She was influenced by this woman. Andy then takes out a photo. Maxine Gullett, age 33. Started off as a model in New York, eventually went pro in Europe and all over. However, at some point she became a recruiter for a highly dangerous feminist extreme group, the Arrow of Artemis. This is one cell of similar groups under one umbrella. She would intentionally befriend wives and break up marriages, talking or manipulating them to have affairs with their husbands. Then indoctrinate them into this group. It would start off slowly at first, cry about the patriarchy and the unfair treatment of women. But then it would get darker, teaching it is not just okay, but completely justifiable to be cruel to your husbands and sons, due to them being male. Then eventually, the brainwashing and teaching them how to be actual killers, terrorists of all kinds. They have been trained by some of the deadliest military units in the world. Ironically, they use men to train them, to eventually kill their male targets. They can be anywhere in any field. Law enforcement, military, learning, medical, executive, local, or small business. To say they have resources is an understatement. It is even believed that they are internationally established with the information that we have got. Tim took all of this in as he heard it. He then spoke. I got word that they came for my family. A look of shock came to the faces of the group. They failed. One of my people got hold of one of them. They are not aware of what we are and what we can do. I'm just a gym teacher after all. A smile came to Tim's face, knowing he is anything but just a gym teacher with all the people he has killed in the past when they hurt his family. The crew who came for us is dead, but we have a survivor. From what he says, they have been contracted before. In fact, they have their own personal phone book of bad guys to do dirty work, which I find kind of ironic being that these are extreme and violent feminists who hate men but are aided by men one way or another. But anyway, This organization has a contact woman. Each region is different. In this case, they describe this region's a white female, aged mid-20s to early 30s. 5'4", thick glasses, short haircut. Robin's jaw tightened when she heard that description. I know her, or more particularly of a woman described like that. Me and my captain at the time were working a case, and her description matching that woman was brought up. Always figured she was this organization's contact. Justin then stepped forward and laid out a picture of the woman. Wait, how did you? This is one of the photos of her sighting. She is believed to be involved in a case resulting in a wife killing her husband with 2 accomplices. The accomplices owned a sex shop that had video and instruments used to assault and torture him for months. They finished him off with a spear gun. Andy grimaced a little bit. Jesus. Justin then continued, I didn't notice it at first, particularly since the 3 are now dead. But something told me to look back at the videos and pics. She was the only person that came into that shop to be taken back, but not by a thing. The group all realized the importance of this information. Then Todd looked at Tim. The guy still alive? We can use him to draw her out. Tim smiled. I like how you think, Todd, but not just that. We let him go a few hours ago. Well, he is missing a toe here and an ear there. Had to make it seem real and convincing when you let him escape, right? Tim nodded. Mind you, my guy didn't like the idea of letting the guy get a hit on him. He also made sure the gun on his side had a single bullet that was blank. Guy ran out of a warehouse in the middle of nowhere. The nearest phone with reception is a motel. The phone has been tapped, and the place is under surveillance. The cleanup crew will want to clean up the mess. Soon as he is taken care of, we follow the crew, then have a chat with the mystery lady when we meet up with her. The group nodded with approval. Then Justin spoke. We have only inklings of who and what this enemy is. Any information we get helps us nail these a-holes before they kill us. The group nodded with approval. Then Todd spoke up. We are going to need some serious hacker skills and some muscles too. Someone who doesn't hide behind the badge we use. These feminazis seem to be used to law enforcement who go by the book. We need a wild card that completes this deck of cards. Unknown to the group, a mile away from the meeting, a woman was watching and listening to them all, with a highly sophisticated 2-eyepiece telescope that had a recording feed and an audio dish attached to the stand she was using. Her positions were on the roof of a building away from the area. She was a beautiful woman, standing at 5'7", an athletic and lean figure with thick waist and C-cup breast. She was a white female and had short raven-color hair with a single streak of silver drawn in the middle of her hair and blue eyes. From arrogance, she appeared to be in her mid to late 20s. She listens to the conversation of the group. We need a wild card that completes the deck of cards. The mystery woman smiled as she listened to Todd. Yes, indeed you will, Max. She watches as the group goes their separate ways to begin their plan of attack. Then, make a call. Hello, it's me. I'm calling in that favor. Elsewhere, Megan made her way to work. She knew it was going to be uncomfortable, but it was something she had to get off her chest. The last thing she would do was lie and escape the truth, no matter how difficult it was to say or share it. This was going to be the day she was honest with the man who has looked out for her for years. Then there was the fact that her family came to her after everything they had put her and her father through. As far as she was concerned, he was her father alone, not the ungrateful bitch that broke his heart and used him the way she did, who hid her mother's affair from him. Then after all these years of her clearly not wanting anything to do with her, she had the audacity of just showing up to her job like everything was okay, and told her that her sister was assaulted. After everything they had done to her father, they could drive off a cliff for all she cared. Yet despite feeling this way, Sal's words banged in her head. Things such as letting her hate change who she is. She saw how Sal looked at her when she insulted her mother, the look of shock in his eyes. When she arrived at work, she went to her station after clocking in. As she was preparing, she heard someone call her. Hey Mojo. Megan turned to see her friend and client Robin at the garage door. Hey Danger Mouse. Megan responded to her friend. I didn't hear from you last night. You usually hit me up a little after dinner, but nothing. You all right? Megan took a breath. Not going to lie to you. The past 24 hours have been a hell show. My mom came to my shop yesterday. Robin was surprised. Your mom? The same mom who you wanted nothing to do with due to her cheating on and lying to your dad? That bitch? Megan nodded her head. Yeah, that bitch. I don't even know how she found me. I cut ties with her and my sister the moment the clock struck midnight on my 18th birthday. Haven't seen them since. You would think she got the message. Robin listened to her friend as she vented. You know that bitch came here to tell me that my whore sister got assaulted? Robin was taken aback by her venom. What happened? To my understanding, she was going out with the guy for a bit, and he wanted to have sex, and for once she didn't. He didn't take no for an answer, so he took it. He hurt her pretty bad. Said that she is critical. Robin held her friend. Oh my God, I'm sorry, Megan. What did you tell your mother? Megan paused before she answered. I told her I hope he wore a rubber. No telling what that bitch caught. Robin was shocked at her words. Megan saw this. Robin, before you judge me for what I said, it is a horrible crime. All those who commit the act should have their junk chopped off, then after a minute or two should be thrown into the wood chipper head first. But in all honesty, to hell with her. This is Angela we are talking about. The same Angela who through most of my life either ignored me or insulted me. Same Angela who became as accessible as a 7-Eleven store just to hurt my dad. The same Angela that got him locked up on the lie that he assaulted her. His own daughter, who he loved, just because he had the audacity of protecting his daughter from her loser drug dealer boyfriend, who not only cheated on her, but got shot dead in a drive-by with the girl she was cheated on for. Robin saw her friend was shedding tears now, but she did not stop her, but would let her friend vent to her. You know, I never had my dad send me off to my prom. I never got to see him celebrate in the audience for me when I graduated. And I'm never going to have my daddy walk me down the aisle, if that ever happens at this rate. I'll never be able to tell him his grandson or granddaughter was born, or call him when I'm sad and need advice. I'll never hear his corny jokes or words of wisdom. I'll never see his smile. He had this awesome smile, Robin. You should have seen it. Robin held on to her friend as she cried on her shoulder. It is all right, honey. I got you. Robin assured her friend. Megan looked at Robin as the older sister she wished she had. The day her father died was the day she no longer had family as far as she was concerned. What Megan said about Angela and her assault caught her off guard, sure. But after what Angela and her mother put Megan and her father, though, she can understand her resentment. May not condone or agree with it, but she understands it. Megan? Both women turned to see a concerned Sal, who soon came to Megan's aid. Megan? Hun, what are you doing here? After last night, I thought you would take the day off. It was an emotional roller coaster. Why are you here, hun? Megan gathered herself before answering. Sal, thank you for this. I mean everything. But I just could not stay home today. I need the distraction. Also, Megan paused for a moment before turning to her friend, then back to Sal. Do you have a moment? I want to talk about last night. A slight sweat bead came down Sal's left cheek before he answered. He noticed Robin standing next to Megan. Robin was very protective of the people she cared about. In fact, some people were in the ground because they decided to test that theory. He tried to get a feed on Robin, but he could not read her face, as it gave an eerie neutral expression. Yes, Megan, of course. Come into my office. Robin watched Sal take Megan inside, keeping a hard eye on him as he did. Oh, Robin, your car is ready. Give me a moment with Megan, and I'll come out with your keys and paperwork. Robin responded, Yes, Sal, no problem. I'll be here. Once the door was closed, Sal offered Megan a can of Coca-Cola, which she gladly accepted. He then sat across from her to begin the conversation. Sal spoke up, I think I know what this is about. Before Sal could say anything, Megan beat him to it. Sal, I'm so sorry I came on to you the way I did. You were there for me, and it was completely inappropriate. If you want, I can transfer immediately, and I won't bother. I just want to say, I want to be with you. Yes, exactly. Wait, what? Megan had to catch herself for a moment. She thought she heard what she was going to say to Sal. Sal then took a breath. Megan, what I'm about to say is highly inappropriate, and I'll probably lose my contract as a result. But I'm going to be honest. From the moment I met you, it was a breath of fresh air. Your kindness and compassion, along with your drive and skill, is a sight to behold. You always have the best intentions when it comes to helping people. I even remember when I was locked out of my car in that damn thunderstorm. You just happened to drive by and offered me a place to sleep for the night till help arrived the next morning. This was our first met. And I'm not going to lie, you are beautiful, inside and out. What happened last night? I think we have been ignoring our feelings for a long time, but we finally saw them for ourselves. In the open, not the shadow. We didn't kiss or do anything, even though it was going to happen at any rate. But the sparks were there nonetheless. If it is all right with you, I would like to see where we could take this. Megan just sat there, a tear runs down her cheek. Sal saw this and gave her a tissue. Megan, if this is an issue, I will terminate my contract with the Rangers. You and the staff won't be affected. You will still have a job with them. I don't want you to. He was cut off as she ran into his arms, holding him tight. What kept you, silly? Sal looked at her confused. I feel the same way, Sal. I never tried because I didn't want to make it look bad to you. I know you may think I'm too young for you, but I'm a grown woman, Sal. And I know who I want to share my heart with. You told me that I'm beautiful and thank you for that. But that goes for you too, Sal. You are among the kindest and most decent souls I ever met. And the fact that you are hot is a bonus. Sal blushed but chuckled at the comment. Well, that is not a compliment I hear often. A smile comes to Megan's face. Well, it is a good time to start. Suddenly, he felt her lips on his, followed by her eager tongue as it invades his mouth, and he reciprocates when he recovers from his shock. She then breaks the passionate kiss and looks into his eyes. Sal, I'm sorry for taking so long to tell you this. I wanted to be with you for so long. Not just for sex, but you are completely. Ever since I lost my dad, with few exceptions, I never really had a reason to smile or feel a sense of joy. I just existed, hiding behind my skill and craft to pay bills but not enjoy it. But you, Sal, you gave that back to me. From the moment you let me walk into your shop, you let me fall in love with this again. The projects we worked on, and in the process the lives we saved. When you saw I had no one to share Christmas or Thanksgiving with, knowing my story, mind you, you always welcomed me to come with your family. When I was down and depressed from my past, you were there to let me shed my tears and not judge or take advantage of me. Sal, last night if you wanted me right then, I would have let you. In fact, I so wanted you to have me right then and there. Without warning, she kissed him again, even harder this time. Soon both their hands were exploring each other's body. Her soft skin and lean body, brushing against his muscular and lean frame. They soon found themselves on his desk, making love right then and there. Robin, who is outside reading a book, hears the unmistakable sound of sex from the door, the moans and screams making their presence known. Thinking quickly, she turns the radio on to the shop up, so that no one will hear. It also helped that this was a slow day. As Robin returns to her chair, a smile comes across her face. She recalls the countless time Megan would talk about how hot and nice Sal was, but she never knew how to approach him, how the last thing she wanted was to be fired. But on the other hand, she recalls the few times that Sal and she would talk in the garage break room as her registered car was worked on. He once told her how beautiful she was, and wished he met her years ago, how he feared he would be seen as an old pervert trying to be with a young, beautiful woman. Hearing lovers break away from their fears, she cannot help but smile and be happy for them both. With all the insanity that has been happening, this was a good distraction. Get it, Mojo? Get it? She said to herself, congratulating her friend. 20 minutes later, the door opened. Robin looks at her friend and sees the glow, despite her best efforts of appearing like she did not just have sexed the office of her crush and vice versa. Robin looks at the lovers and just smiles. So, Sal, how about that car? Sal, slightly embraced, responds, yeah, of course, Robin. He then turns to Megan. This was a good talk, Megan. I think we gained some serious ground. If you need anything, please let me know. A devilish smile formed on Sal's lips, as did Megan as she returned his gaze. Oh, of course. I think I should set up my station. That's good, Megan. Robin did everything in her power not to laugh on the spot of the obvious. As Sal brought out Robin's car, she could not help but smile. It was state-issued, but it was assigned to her. The issued Dodge Charge was in all black. Its fuel system is customized and supplied up for pursuit and control on the road. The engine itself was also customized if it had to go up against other fast cars and road bullies. Sorry for the wait, Robin, but you can't rush art after all. This bad boy will go wherever you want it to go. The holding area gives you room from the suspect so they won't get a chance to hurt you, but you can still see them back there. Robin smiled. Good work, Sal. Appreciate you. As Robin signed the papers and was about to ride off, she called for Sal. Future reference, Sal. Next time turn the radio up when you and Megan have another meeting. Sal and Robin gave a laugh. Understood, Robin. Take care. As Robin rode off, she recalls the time Andy called her over to see the new office, and she bit her lower lip at the memory. She then calls him, hey, handsome. Elsewhere later that night, a very wounded henchman waits in his motel room after making a call to his contact about the busted job. He nervously smokes his cigarette and drinks his flask of lime gin to calm his nerves, the memory of the conversation playing in his mind. He still hears the cold, uncaring voice of the woman on the other side of the line. It has been 12 hours since you were supposed to contact me. What happened? We got hit. Bad. I'm the only one that survived. The rest of the guys were dead the moment they went inside. Soon as they were all inside, the place lights up like the freaking sun was coming up. I barely survived when the bastards took me prisoner. They were waiting for us, damn it. I have never seen anything like. What do you mean they took you prisoner? The man paused, realizing what he said. I mean they took a boot to my burnt face after the blast flew me across the ground and took me prisoner. I woke up in some kind of warehouse or something. They took my ear, damn it. They damn near beat me to death. But I got the drop on one of them before they could get anything out of me. I'm no rat. The woman paused before she spoke again. Well done, Mr. Blonde. You will be compensated for your trouble. Understand, however, you will not get a full fee due to the mission not being successful. Whatever send the rescue party, this job is screwed. I can regroup with a new team and crush those bastards. My location is number L, in section 19-2. Thank you for the report, Mr. Blonde. A team will meet with you. An hour passes as Mr. Blonde waits for the team to pick him up. He thinks how to fix this problem. But first he must get out of town. It may take a few years before he is put on another assignment again. He is surprised that the briefing was not as stressful as he thought it would be. Sure, she was a cold bitch, but that was just her anyway. She was nice, in a strange way. He then sees a car pull up. 4 men step out of the vehicle. One is skinny, standing at 5'8", wearing a tree t-shirt for some reason, but the trees looks like they are dried up. Another is massive, standing at 6'4", pure muscle from head to toe. He looks like something from a bodybuilder. He was wearing a red sleeveless shirt and jeans. A tattoo of a demonic cowboy riding what appears to be a nuclear bomb. Another man was wearing a polo shirt with jean shorts. He was average built, standing at 5'6". He had a particular look about him, as if there was no emotion in his eyes at all. And then the fourth man. He stood at 5'9" with a very lean and athletic build, blonde hair and blue eyes. He looked like an action movie star. He watched as one of them had a 24-pack of beer and what looked like dinner. Then they heard them knock on the door. This is the crew they sent me? Mr. Blonde thought to himself as he opened the door. Blonde bombshell. What is up, my guy? How the hell are you? Mr. Blonde was taken aback by the man's energetic appearance. The thickness of his southern accent evident lost for words? I can understand that. My brothers and I have heard that you need assistance of the disappearing kind due to the other night's unfreshened events, shall we say? Mr. Blonde nodded in agreement. Yeah, that's right. I'd go, ow. Mr. Blonde winced as he brushed what used to be his right ear by accident, while rubbing his head due to stress. The man in front of him noticed. Oh dear. Looks like you got yourself a boo-boo. Charles, would you mind treating our friend for his injuries? Blonde sees that the skinny one with the dead tree t-shirt is coming towards him. He watches as he pulls out a medical bag. He then feels his ear be treated for his injuries. As this is happening, Todd and Raoul have been staking out Blonde since he escaped. From the moment he stepped inside that room, they were on him. They watched as one of the regular homeless near the motel sign, peeing their pants with a bottle of gin in each hand. They had beaten hats on to hide their earpiece as they heard the conversation with the contact. They eventually traced the number where the call was coming from. They also took note of what sounded like an airplane in the distance. When the logistics came into play, Todd spoke to the earpiece and Raoul. It's Mueller, right outside the airport. If you say it's in that area, that is where our bad lady person lives. Raoul turned and gave him a puzzled look. Bad lady person? That's what you were going with? Todd just smiled back. Yes, and it is gone with indeed. That does not even make. You know what? I'm leaving it alone. I'm going to sleep. Let me know when the bad guys show up. Sometime later, Todd sees a car full of 4 men, all heading for the room. He also sees a few of them carrying items. He then nudges Raoul awake. Hey, my little sidekick type person, wake up. It is time to do good guy with dark sneaky past stuff. Raoul grumbles as he wakes up, both from the grogginess and the bad joke. Once all 4 men are inside, they rush to the car they came in. With the speed and skill of professional spies, they bug the entire car in every hiding space possible. With 3 cameras, one in both the back and front seats, and one on the dash, that can rotate at a 360-degree angle. With this, they can get clear pictures of the faces of the driver and passengers. And with the help of Todd's contact, they can find them in the database. The car was bugged with hidden audio and video, along with a tracker hidden sway bar and inner frame of the car in less than 3 minutes. It was all the time needed. Once they finished, they rushed back to their hiding place and observed the action that was about to unfold. Back inside the room, Blonde allowed the man to treat his ear. Wow, God, that feels better, thanks a lot, man. The man smiled, no problem. Hey bro, you got a beer? As Blonde took his beer, he never got a chance to open it as the bullet entered his brain. Charles then wrapped plastic around his head to avoid blood being spilled. The big man then took the beer and opened it, drinking its contents before he spoke. I got the little bitch. As he took the dead man to the bathtub to drain the blood out of the body, the man with the southern accent spoke. Jeb, is this really the time for such practicality? Jeb merely held the dead man up as if he were a pillow, letting the blood drain from the head wound. Once the body was drained, the brothers brought a leather bag out, pulling a set of sharp meat cleavers and butcher knives for them to cut the body into separate pieces. Jeb then addressed his older brother. "Don't give me any shit, Frank. I have been driving for hours, with a Charlie horse that won't go away, and to top it off, Charles got to kill someone instead of me. So yes, Frank, I do think it is appropriate to have at least some damn comfort if I can help it." Frank just looked at his little brother, despite his size. "I just worry about you, little brother, is all. Make sure you clean up after you're done." Jeb then smiled as he was finishing cutting off the dead man's thigh, freeing it from the torso. "Heh, don't I always?" Frank looked at his brother. "You really don't want me to answer that?" Jeb flipped his middle finger to Frank and laughed. Then Frank spoke again. "I'm going to have a smoke." With that, the Reaming brothers wrapped each piece in plastic, then placed them in a large shoulder bag carried by Jeb. The brothers then put on plastic suits, cleaning the room from top to bottom. They even used cleaning solutions specially used for cleaning human waste and blood, followed by bleach and other cleaning solutions, leaving no trace or evidence that not only was there a murder, but that there was anyone here at all. They knew the man paid cash under the instructed false name, so no trace of him was left behind. By the time the brothers left, it was as if no one was in the room at all. All brothers had shaved their body that day, leaving no hair or fibers or any DNA. Outside, Todd and Raul watched as the car left the hotel, the tracking and recording system online. Both watched as the car drove off the lot, the camera hidden beneath them taking a picture of them all, from driver to license plate. When the car was completely out of sight, they immediately rushed to the rental they got. Todd drove and contacted Justin to tell him the update, while Raul prepared his tools for the task ahead. The following morning, Megan awoke in bed, except it was not her own. She looked to the other side of the bed to see Sal's naked body on it. She recalls the night before. With what happened at work that morning, they knew they wanted more of each other. When Sal offered dinner at his place, she jumped at the chance. The food was amazing, as was the conversation of what this means for them here on out. But the sex was the real meal. She recalls how good he made her feel good exploring every inch of her body, just as she did him. Every touch, taste, all of it and more. She bites her lower lip at the thought. She then decides to wake him up, in a very sensual way. His moans of pleasure signal that he is awake. She looks up and smiles. "Good morning, sleepyhead." With that, they have sex again that morning. When they finish, they shower together, then make their way downstairs for breakfast. As Sal is cooking, his phone goes off. When he sees the ID, he notices it is an unknown number. "Babe, who is it?" Sal thinks to himself, "Babe, God, that sounds good coming from her." He then responds, "No idea, coming up as an unknown. Might be a serial killer. Hold on." Megan rushes to Sal's side in one of his buttons, up long sleeve shirts and nothing else, as her clothes are still in the laundry machine. "Okay, I'm here now. I can protect you now." Sal laughs as he holds and kisses her. "My hero." He then answers the phone. "Hello?" There was a long pause. Sal was about to hang up when he hears, "Dad?" Sal's face drains color at the voice. He then turns red. His grip is tight on the phone. Megan watches as he turns from the man she loves into a very familiar emotions that consumes him. He then speaks as if he is spitting out her name. "What the hell do you want, Vicky?" The voice on the other end takes a sharp breath at his harsh question. "How did you find me?" "Dad, I'm not your dad, remember? Because I sure as shit do." "Dad, please, don't do this, okay? I'm sorry. Just what, Vicky? How about leaving me alone? That would be a good start. I don't know how you found me, but I'll make sure you don't again." Megan saw tears run down Sal's face. Ad saw the anger and hurt in his eyes. But she also heard the young voice on the other line sobbing as her own tears fell. "Daddy, please, I am not your father. Because your father is not a loser like I am, remember?" Before the voice could say anything, he hung up. Megan placed her hand on his, squeezing it. She then looked at him with understanding and comforting eyes. "Hey, you want to talk about it? Had this guy I work for who helped me a bit." A tear-filled smile welcomed her as he looked into her eyes. "I think I would like that, actually." The two lovers sat in the living room. Megan had not realized just how homey Sal's place was. It was somewhere one could raise a family in. She looked at pictures of his family as well as him. There was even one where he was a little boy, and a woman clearly his mother. However, there was none of his own family. There was, however, a picture of a beautiful little girl. She appeared to have been around 11 or 12. Her name was Maria. "My little angel." Sal paused as he sipped his orange juice, looking at the picture. Not originally from Texas, Megan. I grew up in Bakersfield, California. My parents Loved me so much that they stopped their life of crime the day they found out they were going to have me. That, along with losing all your friends to violence, will do that to people, I guess. Life was good. I didn't have any of those toxic relationships with my folks or anything. You see it yourself after all. I eventually met someone in high school. Her name was Jennifer. Megan noticed the sad smile as Sal continued. Can you believe that she was one of those popular girls with a heart that you see in TV types? It was one of the reasons I fell in love with her. As time went on, we just became more serious. We were an odd pair. Me, the weird kid who had a habit of beating up bullies who wanted to try their luck with me, and her, the most popular girl in school, but we worked. From best friends to lovers, it was only a matter of time before she told me she had something to tell me. We were together for 2 years at this point, so there were no secrets between us. I remember how scared she looked under that tree on our favorite park bench. She ended up telling me she was pregnant. She was scared. We were both, obviously, but I knew that she was not going to go through this alone, and I swore to be there for her and our baby. It was hard going to our folks about this. 2 dumb kids who couldn't control their hormones. Yet we pulled through it together. Despite our parent giving us hell, they helped us through pregnancy. Dad had me work with him at the garage so that I could save money for us. Jennifer had to drop out of cheerleading but ended up with Job Corps classes to get her foot in the door for a new job after her pregnancy. It was hard letting certain things go as a teenager, but we did it for our family. And through the pain and sacrifice, we grew closer together, our love growing stronger through the struggle. Then the day came. My little angel, Vicky, was born. Megan watches Sal wipes away a tear from his cheek. She then comforts him. It's all right, baby. You take your time. Sal kisses her, then continues. She was my world, my sun, moon, and stars. They both were. I still see her smile when she saw her daddy for the first time. Her little hand squeezing my finger for all it's worth. Every smile, every cry, every time she crawled, walked, she always had that smile for me. When Vicky was 3, me and Jen graduated. At the celebration our folks worked up, I proposed to her right there. She nearly ran me over as she hugged me, saying yes. We loved each other after all. It was crazy. Me at 18 years old. Already have a family that I would do anything for. My skills with cars have grown at that point. With the old man's help, even celebrities were becoming my clients at this point, as well as street racers. Jennifer became a painter. Her skills and art flourished. Money was saved. Our family was safe. And most importantly, had time and love for each other. Those 12 years were the happiest of my life. Sal took a sip from his drink. Megan could see in his eyes that the following things he will say will be the hardest he shares. Then one day, it all changed. I came home early one day to find a woman I never seen before in my house talking to my wife and Vicky. Her name was Lucy Winters. The thing that caught me off guard was the way she looked at me. It was her eyes, like they were trying their best to not show how much they hated me. Her friendly smile was just a mask. I did not understand it, but paid it no mind. Jen had snobbish friends over before. A few I had to put in their place by telling them off due to their attitude, before kicking them out of my house. I figured this would be no different. The woman's name was Janice. I can't deny it. She was hot. It looked like a supermodel. She was white, with brown hair and coffee-colored eyes. I stood at 5'4" with an athletic body but thick waist. I wasn't disrespectful, but didn't show and give it either. After that day, I noticed the attitudes of both Jen and Vicky began to change. It was little things at first. They would start leaving more dishes in the sink without cleaning them, or leave their clothes everywhere despite me telling them to stop doing that. Then the little insults and jabs would come. Jen would tell me to make sure I don't mess the sink up, when she knows I usually fix everything around the house. But Vicky became argumentative and disrespectful. She would blatantly ignore or talk back to me when I asked, then tell her to do something such as clean her room or go to bed, only for her to listen to her mom when she asked her the same thing. I put a stop to that one night. She decided she was going to stay up late on a school day. Her grade has been failing, and she has been hanging around her mom and that damn woman a lot lately. I confronted her about it, and she told me to screw off. Without another word, I slapped her. It surprised both of us, but I mostly. Not that I slapped her. My parents would not tolerate such disrespect, but her blatant disrespect to me. For all her life she was my princess. There wasn't anything I would do. And for her to say something like that, her mom gave me hell for it, and we had a big fight. She tried to shame me for hitting her baby, our baby. I told her I would not tolerate such disrespect, and that her and Vicky had changed since that damn woman came into their lives. I asked her why she is like this. She claimed that I was making her and Vicky my personal slaves. I could not believe this woman, or the words coming from her mouth. As the years followed, disrespect grew. Vicky learned not to be so blatant with it, but she still did it in different ways. She would intentionally tell her mom about school functions, leaving me out of it. When I arrived at her school to pick her up, she would go with her mom or friends instead. She no longer talked to me. It was like we were roommate and not father and daughter. Jen was worse. Sex was non-existent. Every time I brought it up, she would come up with an excuse for why she could not. Until eventually she would try to shame me for asking. Whenever I would suggest family counseling, both would laugh at me. Vicky would be brave when she was around her mother, who became this cruel woman who I no longer recognized, and her demon-spawned sidekick. I was going to yell at them both, but there was a knock on the door. It was that bitch, Lucy. When she saw us, she just smiled, as if she had completed her mission of turning my own family against me as if I was a jailer. She then spoke, "Having trouble with the ladies, Sal?" Well, I can't say I'm surprised. Most men of you caliber don't have the balls to. The bottle in my hand exploded as I crushed it, being that I was so angry. The blood began to flow through my fingers and onto the floor. Everyone was shocked by the sight, especially Lucy. I then spoke to her as she pissed herself at that fact, her eyes wide as she stared at me. I then spoke. "Lucy, I don't know you. The only times I met you are the rare times your back is to me, and that is rare. You have been rude and disrespectful to me countless times. I know that for whatever reason you hate me and have convinced my family to do the same. Your sly comments on how useless I am, only for my wife and daughter to repeat it to me, but I took it. However, what you will not do is disrespect me in my home, where I love and provide for my family. So, Lucy, it is because of this reason that you are not welcome in my home. If you come back for any reason, I will call the police on you. You may get a slap on the wrist, but it will be on your record. And we both know you are too much of an ego-snobbish bitch to have such a stain on your social discord. So, I say this with the utmost disrespect. Get the hell out of my house, you walking abortion, before I throw you out." Everyone was shocked at my words. My family just stood there. Lucy could not move. It wasn't until I walked towards her that she practically ran through the door. After that, silence. My wife and daughter never disrespected me after that, but they no longer spoke to me either. Some days and nights they would stay over family and friends. I offered family counseling, but my wife and daughter would just ignore me. We went from a loving family to roommate that acknowledged each other's existence. At least, that is how they saw me. Then one day I was home early. I tend to sleep in the basement of my man cave a lot when I want to get away from bullshit and whatnot. I left the kitchen door open and didn't realize it. My daughter came in and didn't realize I was downstairs since the lights were off. I had just woken up from a nap when I heard her. "Hey Dad, I had a blast with you and Mom yesterday at the new restaurant you took us to. You guys were so cute and adorable together. I swear you two needed a room for a moment, huh? I mean, it only makes sense. I wish you were my real dad, and not the sperm bank loser I share genes with. Believe I tried. I went and got one of those ancestry things and yep, I'm his. Yeah, screw that douche loser. Anyway, I have got to go. Tell Mom I'll see her later. I know you have got plans. Take care, Terry. I love you." My world broke right then and there. Everything I worked for, everything I built was for people that I loved with every fiber of my being, just to be discarded like trash by the same people that I loved. Besides my parents, they were all I had. I wanted to scream at her, shake her, ask her why she hated me so much. I almost did just that. I heard her sing that damn song she always did, but I stopped myself when I stepped on the first step. I realized my family no longer loved me. It crushed me, but I had to accept that. I decided that since it was all over, I had to be smart and logical, not emotional and reckless. It was time to plan for the endgame of this farce of a marriage. The first thing I did was call my folks. I told them what happened. Thank God for my parents. They didn't need another side of thing. They knew and loved me enough to know I would not lie about that. After crying, I told them to act as normally as possible, but I told them that I'm making changes to my will and trust fund for Vicky. They agreed and supported me. Dad said he knew a guy who does PI work. Dad hired him to track everything he could. He also encouraged me to use tracking apps for my wife and daughter's phone, even a device that could find information on their phone in clouds, which was legal since the phones were in their name. In the meantime, I continue as the dumb cuck husband and clueless dad to my so-called loving family. It was agonizing, acting like living in an empty house with strangers who hate me for no reason. Then after weeks of this quiet humiliation, I got a call from the PI. When I saw him at his office, I'll never forget the look in his eyes. "Sal, make no mistake, I got what you wanted, but at the same time, it is the last thing you want. Turns out your wife's friend has been hooking her up with a bunch of guys for a while now." As he placed the pictures in front of me, I was stunned. There they were, Lucy and my wife shaking hands and making introductions with a guy in one picture, then another picture of all three of them having sex. And it was not just men, but women too. Some were even executives and business owners. But I noticed one guy had a habit of being with her in most of the pictures with her. Graphic or not, there was also footage with clear audio. I heard her practically celebrate getting plowed. Proud of cheating on me. She even had one guy had his juices on her wedding ring, then laugh as she showed it off. This is what I think about this bullshit marriage. Screw him and his loser parents. Hey Lucy, thanks for making this happen. Oh God, you are magic. Then the bitch Lucy would look up and smile. Of course, honey, that limp loser could not please a woman if he tried. I told him to turn it off. But as the PI did, he told me, there is more. He then showed footage of my little girl and her mom on a family date with him. He showed me footage of the same regular guy having dinner with my family, my wife kissing him like her lover, and my daughter smiling along the way. She even put it on her Instagram saying, nothing like witnessing my mother live her best life with her true love. Love these two so much. I was in shock. I could not hear the man as he was trying to get my attention. It was around the third time he shook me a little bit. Sal? You with me, buddy? I answered meekly, yeah. No, not at all. The guy patted my shoulder but continued. The guy's name is Terrence Andrews. 5'9", athletic build. He owns multiple small businesses in Travis County. That's where the buckets of money come into play. Lucy, believes it or not, is a mental health specialist. Works in the mental ward of the local hospital. Pretty sure they have a morals clause. I knew exactly where he was going with all of this. I want scorched earth. Time to lawyer up. You got anyone in mind? He gave the first smile all day. A real shark. She hates cheaters. Lost her son to suicide because of one. She will do. I met her in her office. She was short, maybe 5'1", but the hard look in her eyes told me she was anything but weak and incompetent. I gave her the evidence, including a DNA test of my daughter, which turned out to be mine. But at this point, I no longer claimed her as my own. Once I gave her the mountain of evidence and told her money was no factor. The dumb bitch that will soon be my ex-wife didn't even notice the money I've been taking out to put in my own account. It was time to end this. When I arrived home, my wife and daughter were watching TV. I came in and just looked at them both. Both seemed confused. Then I spoke up. My loving family, we need to talk. When they turned their heads, my wife to the TV, my daughter to her phone. I took Vicky's phone and threw full force into the TV, destroying both. Both were shocked at my display. Can you hear me now? I said mockingly. I then threw the folders of papers at them both. My wife got the graphic ones with Terry, while my daughter has the one with both. Why? I asked them. The look in my eyes must have been murderous. Because they both began crying, slowly backing away. I gave my blood, sweat, and tears to this family, and this is my reward. An unfaithful wife, and a daughter who hates sharing the same blood as me. Don't worry, the feeling is mutual. Vicky cried at that, but I didn't care. 3 years? How long have you been shaking up with that bastard? You let your 304 friend pimp you out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry to find yourself? Jen broke down in tears. Then I turned to Vicky. And then there is you. Every little insult, every disrespectful act just to hurt me. Then the fact that you not only hid the affair your mother had, but you want the piece of shit to be your real father. Well, guess what, princess? You can have him. Get the hell out of my house. You are no longer my daughter. Everything I did for you may as well be thoughtful as taking a shit as far as I'm concerned. Get out and take your 304 mother with you. Jen looked like she was going to say something, but I just threw the envelope at her. I want a divorce, bitch. And I want you out of my sight. The house is paid for, but in my name. As you recall, I was the one who worked to get us this in the first place. Now, get out. The weeks that followed were a legal bloodbath. I destroyed Terry. Turned out he was married as well as a business owner. He was even a deacon. How's that for a pillar of the community? I sued him for alienation for affection. After I sued him, his wife left him, then took him for everything. His reputation was ruined and in tatters. When it was all said and done through legal fees and divorce, and that he would most likely never see his kids who hated him for what he did to their mother, he decided the best course of action was a small bottle of Thunderbird and a nice jump off a high-rise building. I then went after the other affair partners that she partook with. Families were destroyed. Businesses were sunk due to the countless scandals. Anyone who was horny and dumb enough to lay with my wife felt my legal wrath. Business owners, public officials, there was even a high school teacher who was married to her husband for 10 years with kids. All those lives and marriages were destroyed, which gave me a check or two well over $3 million alone when all was said and done. As for Lucy, I guess it never occurred to her that actions have consequences. When evidence showed that she had a large impact on this, I sued her too. I told her employer that I won't go after damages if they fire her and strip her of her license. But most importantly, I won't go on TV and tell the world how that hospital hires sexual deviants that will destroy marriages. The board got the point. She was without a job and licensed the next day. And with the lottery I hit her with, she had to use her 401k. She was penniless when it was all said and done. It was reviled that she had sex parties at her penthouse apartment downtown, and she was a known spokeswoman for this women's group or something. But after everything, her posh conservative person was up in smoke. She became known as the bitch who destroyed a marriage. The bad press was too much for her, as no other medical intuitions or anyone would hire her, seeing her as a liability. I eventually found out that she took herself a hot bath with a straight razor. She was found by her maid. I heard the funeral was nice, but I made it to a point not to know where it was. Not to show disrespect, but so I didn't have to fight the urge to piss on her grave. I'd rather not know and avoid the chance entirely. During the divorce hearing, when all the legal blood was spilled, I had a pretty penny. For unknown reasons, my former family tried to fight the divorce. Apparently, it took humiliation and my wife's parents cutting her off along with my own parents, as well as taking Vicky off the will and their trust fund. They had only me, but I was the last person that wanted to be near them. I showed the court the evidence of my wife's cheating and family's abuse, how my own daughter knew about and flaunted the affair, making fun of me in the process. When it was over, the judge granted primary custody to my ex-wife for my daughter and ordered child support. However, the 401k, my assets and house were mine. Before the judge made his ruling, I asked to speak, and he allowed it. Your Honor, I understand that I must pay child support, as the child is my responsibility. I wish to pay the lump sum of $500. I also wish to have the child's name removed from the birth certificate, as I no longer recognize her as my child. The court erupted. Jen screamed, "How could you? She is your daughter. Daddy, what are you doing? You can't just disown me. Is that right? You mean all those times you hid your mother's affair from me? How you made fun of me because I was too stupid to figure it out? How when your mother and a man who was not your father would go on family trips together? How you wished he was your dad? Well, you know what, Vicky? You can have him. Oh, wait, no you can't, because he decided to take the chicken shit way out and took a nosedive off a building. But if you hurry, I'm sure there is a spot of him left you can spend time with. Because I don't want to spend another second in the same room as you. All I ever did was love you. When you were sick, I was there and gave you medicine until you felt better. When you were cold, I gave you my coat to keep you warm. When you were hungry, you got my plate. When you were down, it was me that brought that smile back to your face. When you were scared, I was there to protect you. I would fight the devil's armies for you with a smile to keep you safe, and give my life 1,000 times over. Yet all it took for you to hate me was a guy who had a thing for married wives, and a checkbook slightly bigger than mine. And you were surprised? The courtroom was silent, except for Jen and Vicky's tears. Because they knew I was right. They realized too late that what they were having with Lucy and Terry was a beautiful lie. And they let go of the not so beautiful, but loving truth. And that they lost it all when they tried for the lie. Jen's parents disowned her as well. They were shocked when I told them I was divorcing her. But when I showed them the evidence of what their little girl was doing, they were ashamed. They were always decent to me. And they apologized for their daughter's actions. My parents wanted nothing to do with either of them. They were on their own. The judge then spoke. Sir, by law I cannot remove your name from the young girl's birth certificate. But you can take her off your will, which to my understanding you already have. However, I must say that forgiveness for one's actions should be considered for one so young. Do not let hate to rule your life despite the pain you endured, man. Despite the time wasted, I like the judge. He was fair and really saw humanity in this situation, but I couldn't forgive them, not what they did. I hear and understand where you're coming from, Your Honor. The thing is, I don't hate them. I don't feel anything for them. Sir, I only want to move on from this heartbreak that is my life. I'm willing to accept my legal responsibilities, just without what caused me pain to be in my life. I will sign all rights away. I want nothing to do with either of them. The judge lowered his head in disappointment, but at the same time he didn't, nor could he blame me. Very well. The court grants Mr. Martin request. The total amount of child support will be paid in one lump sum to the ex-wife and child in the amount of $500,000. Full custody will be granted to Mrs. Martin. This case is concluded. And just with a slam of a gavel it was over. I was no longer a husband and no longer a dad. Vicky ran to me hugging me, screaming how sorry she was, begging for my forgiveness. But I had no love for her. I had nothing for her. No emotion, just indifference. An acknowledgement that she exists, nothing more. Jen just cried, looking at me. Too late to mend anything with us. Jen then helped Vicky up from the floor, and I walked away, never to see them again. Except for earlier, I have not heard from or seen them in 7 years, which was not only fine, but preferred. You see, it's not that I hate them. It is that seeing them causes me pain. It reminds me of the pain they caused me, and I can't be around that. I found out that Jen became an alcoholic and would screw the pain away with willing suitors. Finding out that people you thought were your friends only help cost you everything you hold dear was something she could not handle sober. It wasn't long until she found herself in a drunken car accident that cost her life. She took on a big rig with a bottle of Jack Daniels and Toyota Camry, the big rig one. Vicky just became the kid that existed. Went to school, then home. Her mom died when she graduated, so she was completely alone at that point. But I can't have her in my life. The pain is just too much. Megan brushed her hand across his face, then kissed him softly. Baby, you don't have to explain. I know that pain. You saw it at the garage, remember? No one in this room is judging you, Sal. We are just two broken souls damaged by the ones who were supposed to love us, and we are the ones left trying to heal the scars. She then brought her face to her. Let me help you heal your scars, baby, and help me heal mine. And maybe we can get out of this shit-hole emotional baggage twister in our heads. Megan then kissed him again. He then looked into her eyes. As long as you are there, beautiful, I'll be right beside you. Let's heal, beautiful. And the lovers shed their clothing and made love throughout the night, knowing that they would be there for each other, no matter what. Elsewhere, a car pulls into an abandoned lot. Pulling up next to the SUV, a woman steps out. She is 5'3", a lean build, of East European descent, but one wouldn't tell due to her accent being American. A man steps out of the passenger seat. A devilish smile comes across his beautiful face. Well, good evening, little lady. I must say it is a pleasant surprise to have you with us tonight. The woman ignored him, looking for something, no someone. I take the issue has been resolved? The big man then chimed in, yeah, we blew the guy's brains out then took care of him Hell's Kitchen style. Houdini, chopped him up and, are you stupid? Where do you get off talking about an act like that in full detail? What are you, retarded? The woman was shocked at his carelessness, but she then saw her mistake as the big man gave her a menacing stare that chilled her to her core. Who the hell do you think you are, bitch? The big man then walked towards her. The woman and her bodyguard stood frozen in fear, despite their best not showing it. I'll cut those reckless lips of yours off, along with that sharp tongue, you little bitch. Oh, Jebediah. The blonde man screamed, and the big man stopped his assault. Jeb, why don't you help with the issues as I talk to our current employer? Jeb turned to his brother, then nodded. Whatever. Screw her. Relief washed over her as Jeb went back to the car. I apologize for my brother's actions. Our mother had an unfortunate likening to him, you understand? So, he doesn't take too kindly to ladies insulting him. Didn't work out to the last one who did that, you see. Now Nala, and please don't feel insulted, I know your name. It is what I do after all. We understand the liability is not the only reason you called me and my brothers here. Nala was shocked. He knew her name, but she could not afford to show it, or any kind of fear. She has seen what these monsters have done. She internally chastises herself for speaking so recklessly to Jeb earlier. It almost cost her life. No need for apologies. Yes, we have an issue. Or rather a group of them. Frank takes the folder and looks through the contents. He reads the information under the picture of each of his targets. Then look up. That Tim Kelly is a slippery one. True Swamp County boy. Had a nice trap left for your crew. He is going to be a problem. And the other guy? Alsacan State Police, huh? No listed training experience. Changed his legal name from Max. Slate? The woman looked confused. What? What is it? Oh honey, you just made things intriguing. You done got yourself a devil to fight here. Knows over 7 forms of combat, expert marksman, and ungodly gifted in environmental awareness. In other words, he will find over 10 ways to kill you based in the area he is in. There is nothing that says that on the file. How do you know this? Frank smiles and opens his shirt. As he does so, Nala is startled at the small explosion of flames coming from the 6-foot grave dug. Used to burn the chopped-up remains of the man they killed earlier. Because Max gave me this. Frank showed a massive scar that stretched from the upper right side of his chest to the lower left of his torso. See, we had ourselves a showdown on the Citibank rooftop. Max was a good shot and took out our helicopter pilot. My older brother, Vincent, got his brains blown out before he could raise that AK-47 right. My father knew some stuff too, but I rushed Max. That's when he gave me this scar. followed by a nice old kick off the rooftop. As I fell down that cluttered alley that would somehow save my life, bags of trash would do that, I watched as he butchered my father with his own knife. That bastard murdered my family in front of me. Ms. Nala, I would like to request more men, please. And I will be willing to offer a discount if need be. And I would suggest you do this. I'm not worried about Tim and the one-eyed ranger. It is Max that is the threat. So, I would suggest you take heed to my words. Nala then nodded to the bodyguard, and he made the call for more men. They will be at Safe House 3, Zone 1. Waiting for you. Frank then smiled and nodded. Much appreciated, my lady. I do believe it is time for us to depart. With that, all parties went their separate ways. In the brush, Raoul and Max saw and heard everything. Raoul noticed Max had griped the binoculars tight and had controlled his breathing. Hey man, are you all right? Max now knew who that man Frank was. He, his father and brother were brutal bank and armed truck robbers in Chicago when he was still a cop there. He remembered that day very well. They had the computer system hacked and got the early morning crew tied up. Frank and his brother brutality assaulted the bank manager in front of her staff. Then, killed them all in front of her. They were anarchist and sovereign citizens in their warped minds. It was only by chance that Max saw what was happening. When he saw the woman, she was a bloody mess, too weak to even cry. But not only did he see her and the dead staff, but also the body of a young armed female guard, no older than 20. Her face was brutalized, along with the cut around her neck from ear to ear, and her pants and undergarment pulled down to her ankles. The look of fear and hopelessness in her lifeless eyes. It was a look that would haunt Max for years to come. Then gunshots. The battle lasted 5 minutes. They had a helicopter pilot on their payroll to help them escape, but Max stopped them. He thought he killed them all that day. He then spoke to himself as he witnessed Frank drive off with his brothers. I'll be seeing you, Frank. He then motioned Raoul. Come on, we follow her and get our intel. We deal with deliverance after. And with that, they followed the woman, night vice and drone ready. Nala walked through the doors of her home as she saw the driver make his way to the guardhouse. She soon went for her shower. After being around such monsters, she felt unclean. She was very aware of what they were capable of. From pictures and footage, she saw it was brutal. It did not matter their target men, women, or children. If someone was willing to pay them, they would do the job. Murder an enemy or an entire family as an enemy watch. There was one job she recalled that where they destroyed an entire building to kill one target. Another when a man who dared cross the sisterhood was forced to watch his family be slaughtered while he was shot in his gut. The last thing he would see is the burning corpse of his family before he died from bleeding out. It was deemed an accident due to gas pipes, but far from it. She is aware of 6,000 people that died at their hands, most likely more. And the things they do to women. It brought back the horrors of her own past of what she had to endure, but when she saw traitors or those unworthy to the cause die at their hand, it haunted her. She still sleeps with the light on as a result. Nala let the water flow over her beautiful body in the shower. She hated it here in the States, with few exceptions. She would rather be back in her garden in Clinton, Maine, her one exception. As soon as this job was done, the better. I only keep records. I'm not some super agent or something. She berated to herself. You sure about that? Nala turned to see a single man of Mexican descent just stand there. Before she could scream, she felt the prick of the needle, and its contents entering her neck, and then darkness takes her. When she awoke, she was in a dark room she could not make out. She did not say a word. She was in nothing but her bathrobe, and she was terrified. She'd seen many agents die and saw their training, but she was only a brain for the organization, nothing more than that. As she tried to remove the hood over her head, she realized her hands were restrained. She then heard a door open, and the footsteps that followed. Whoever had just come in, she could tell that they were now in front of her. In her bold bravado or attempt at it, she spoke. Whoever you are, you have 10 seconds to get me out of this. And maybe you, your family, and whoever may know your name will survive. You understand me, you sorry piece of shit? She was met with a hard punch to the nose. As she grounded in pain, her nose was cruelly put back in place. Her screams echoed throughout the dark, empty room. The mask was then taken off. Then she saw her driver, strapped to a stand-up table. His mouth was gagged, and every part of his body was tied down. The individual then came to her front. She could tell it was a man, but that was all. Their face and body made it impossible to identify race, age, or identity of any kind due to this person being dressed in black. The man then spoke into a voice disruptor. You keep bad company, Ms. Nala Jenkins. But that is no surprise. This guy here, for example, he was your driver today, But 3 years ago, he was your muscle to kill a husband, David Matthews, who was going to divorce your associate, Wanda Matthews. She cheated on him and was abusing her son Charlie, despite his older sister Emily trying to stop it. He got proof of Wanda's actions and got full custody of the kids. Of course, while Wanda was in jail, she had an accident by falling on a shank multiple times. Anyway, the man suddenly took a metal mallet to the man's knee, crushing it completely. The man's screams and the sound of bone breaking made Nala throw up. Anyway, this guy killed him in his home, stabbed him in front of his kids, leaving him in a pool of blood. Now the kids are orphans. The man in black then pulled out a black leather bag before he spoke again. Nala, we know you in a part of the Arrow of Artemis organization. In fact, you are one of their many middle ladies who get contracts to work jobs. Like this guy here. Suddenly the man took a ninja star and threw it at the man's testicle. His screams were ungodly. The agony and anguish undeniable. But yeah, we want to know about your organization. Everything. From a safe house location, to manpower, to who runs it. Because for whatever reason, this organization has touched some folks that don't like being touched. You do this, I will not harm you. You can walk out of here a free woman. Play dumb? It will not end well for you. Nala was terrified, but she was loyal. She would never break. She responded by spitting in the man's masked face. The man did not move or say anything for a few seconds. He then stood up, then made his way to the strapped-down man. Screw you, pig. What are you trying to scare me? Huh? Don't make me laugh. You just watched too many movies. The man then took out a 12-inch cleaver knife and spoke to her. Have you ever heard of the Westies? Nala looked confused. I take that as a no. Well, the Westies was this Irish gang in Hell's Kitchen, a place in Manhattan, New York. Back in the 70s and 80s. Way back, am I right? Hell's Kitchen was a real shithole, violent death trap. Even cops were afraid to go there. In fact, legends say a cop gave it its nickname. They were brutal murders. Nobody messed with them. One of the things they were good at was something called Houdini. I believe you heard that term, but don't really understand its meaning. Let me show you. Without warning, the man takes the blade and cleaves the man's right hand off. The man screams in both pain and fear. He then turns back to Nala. You see, when you kill someone, you need to get rid of a body. So, they came up with this idea. The man then cuts through the strapped man's ankle tendon with the blade being so sharp it was effortless. But the man still screamed in pain. Nala was horrified by the sight. They would cut the body up in multiple pieces. I mean, bodies can be heavy, you know, so you must lighten the load a bit. But anyway, they would go by legs. The man cut through the leg tendon of the man, as he was still alive. You cut off the arms, shoulders until you have enough pieces you could fit in a carry-on bag. Nala watched in horror as her driver was cut into pieces. His legs and arms were left beside him. By the time his head was the last thing attached to him, he blacked out due to blood loss. Then the head was the last thing to go. Nala was horrified by the sight. She did not know what to do. All she knew, she wanted to get away. It was not the fact he died. It was the way he did. The man then calmly cleaned up the body parts, putting each part in a burning oil drum, then took the bloody blades to a disincentive drum. When the area was completely clear, he then brought a chair and sat down right in front of Nala. Now Nala, as much as I enjoy giving presentations, I don't like my time wasted. So do me, or yourself, a favor and get rid of the tough girl act. I can smell the piss of your fear from across the room. Tell me everything. Nala did just that, told him everything she knew about the organization, even the location of the main headquarters in the UK, and the one who runs it, Lady Madeline, aka Juila DeVille Madeline. Hers was only a cell in a very large umbrella of cells. Despite being different, they have the same goal: the destruction and complete submission of men and complete female supremacy by any means necessary. Nala told companies and CEOs that they would launder money for their organization, and how gangs and even some corrupt law enforcement would provide muscle for certain jobs, such as extortion or murder. They in turn would provide women for sexual events or other means of profits. She shared offshore accounts, known celebrities and public officials that either were forced to work for them due to threats and extortion, or who were simply greedy and wanted more power. There were moles in government or society structures and status. When it was over, the man then freed Nala from her restraints. He then gave her a pair of pants he got from her place and a t-shirt. Okay, a deal is a deal. You are free to go. Nala was surprised. You are not going to kill me? Well, yeah. A man will pick you up, take you to a secured location. They will make sure you're safe and give you a new identity. You will be working for us whether you like it or not. That clear? Nala had just put her shirt on and nodded her head frantically. As Nala left through the front door, her face was suddenly struck with something hard. knocking her on the ground. When she looked up, she saw a young, beautiful woman with red hair and green eyes, holding a shotgun to her now busted head. Nala then yelled, "You lied to me. You said you let me go and walk right out of here, which you did. But I didn't say no one would stop you. You remember that story I told you about? That guy who killed that father in front of his kids due to his abusive ex-wife cheating? Well, this is his daughter who saw him die that day. She made sure her little brother didn't see it, but she saw it all." Nala could not believe it, of all things. "You should have made sure he finished the job, bitch." Before Nala could say a word, the last thing she saw was the shotgun's flash, as its blast blew off what was once her head. The young girl then took a breath as the man came to her. "It's okay, baby. It's over." The woman then hugged onto the man. "Oh God, Raul. Why did she order my dad killed? He didn't do anything wrong but marry my bitch of a mother." "I know, baby. Let it out." As the woman cried, Raul made a call once she had calmed down. "We got what we needed. Family gathering at the spot." With that, Raul hung up the phone, and thus would begin the destruction of the invisible empire that tried its luck with a chosen few and would cost said organization dearly. Tim had pulled into the ranch and just thought to himself, how in these past 3 years so much has happened. His ex cheating on him, his discovery of a sex ring, finding love, rescuing Karen and the other girls, and the shitstorm of scandals involving human traffic, and all the death and violence that took place. And now, the violence that will happen again. His family was threatened. There would be no forgiveness, only bodies burned and tossed in the ground, never to be seen again. He looks at the pastured post where the grass was really growing, the final resting place of the last group who threatened his family. So be it, Tim said to himself. Just then he saw a van come in from the distance. A smile came to his face. Raul embraced Tim when he saw him. "Good to see you, cousin." "Same, Tim. Is everyone here and ready?" Tim nodded, waiting for the guest of honor. "Good, because we got some serious intelligence to share." Raul and Tim made their way inside the den and found everyone waiting for them. The kids were all playing outside, under the watchful and armed eyes of Tim's family and that of Janine's father, Joe's friends and allies from his days in service. The den was packed. Todd and Karen sat next to each other on the love seat. Robin and Andy were kissing as lovers do. Then Andy, seeing the ominous vibe of the room, spoke to her. "I know you are going to talk about things a lawyer should not be engaging with, so I must leave in case something goes wrong. But no matter what it is, just come back to me and the kids. We love you." Robin kissed, "I love you," to Andy. On the table by the liquor cabinet, Justin had just got off the phone with his wife, Beverly. Making sure that she was safe with the armed guard, he left her in a house that they had purchased off the books. How he longed for his wife. But he knew that this had to be done. This organization had already showed that killing was as easy as breathing, and they would not stop until everyone was in this room, and whoever they are relate to are dead. So, they must kill them first. Todd and Raul then walked to the center of the room. "All right then. As you all know, we have been gathering information about these people as long and as short a time we could. From what we know, this is an anti-man-hating terrorist group, one of the many cells under the same deranged umbrella. Their goal is to kill or subjugate man by any means. They have been known to use contract killers and other allies for their cause. Justin is the first to deal with them. A case involving a cheating wife and her incestuous lover killing her husband brought some light on them. They all were containing a small cyanide capsule inside of their necks. Whenever they would hear or see the message, 'Your services are no longer required,' the subject would slap their neck, releasing the cyanide, killing them. This organization has been killing for over 70 years, with very few captures. It started out with abusive or wayward husbands, but eventually went into global terrorism as well as positions of influence and blackmail. They make their money off companies that launder money or provide them with an influential climate. But they also gain it through a percentage in human trafficking, drugs trafficking, weapons trafficking, fraud, even a few murder for hire. Then comes the current help they hired. Todd then hands out folders to everyone in the room before he begins to speak. The folder contains photos of 4 men with their name under them. Meet the Chambers brothers. They are the surviving members of their crime-driven family. They are the last because I killed the other members. You name it, the family was involved in it. Their mother, Bonnie Chambers. Before she was 20, she had a record on her a mile long. Same as their father, Elliot Chambers. Hitman and contractor for multiple outfits, 100 murders under his belt. Bank robbery was his specialty, along with his firstborn, Albert. Met their end by me. However, this brings us to the pictures you have now, the 4 horsemen. Todd pulled out a picture of a large muscular man. This is the horseman war, aka Jebediah Chambers. Served in the United States Marine Corps, was dishonorably discharged due to sexual assault and selling weapons. After serving 10 years, he began his crime spree again. Started working as muscle, made a name for himself as a one-man army. With his train in weaponry and explosives, he is a force to be reckoned with. Also known for violent outbursts, particularly towards women. It's been suggested that he was sexually assaulted by his own mother, and that he had something to do with her death as a result. It is believed he has over 200 bodies under his belt. Next up is the middle child, Alex Chambers. He is pestilence. His go-to is anything toxic and poisonous. He is on the FBI's most wanted list for infecting over-the-counter drugs and putting them back on store shelves in the Midwest. As a result, hundreds of people have died. He is also known for providing terrorists with bioweaponry, provided they have the poisons and toxins they need. CIA tried getting this guy, just to have their bodies returned to their loved one, or what was left of them. This is the youngest, Jerry Chamber. His name Sake is famine. Don't let the skinny build fool you. He is an excellent combatant and an expert marksman. He has killed over 100 people with his skill alone. Far as we know, he has never served, but his skill with a rifle is beyond expert. He usually kills politicians, but he is also sadistic. He is known for killing entire families in front of the target for mere sport. He also baits them out, intentionally wound a friend or a loved one, shooting them while keeping them alive as much as possible to get the target out. Then, there is this one. Franklin Chambers. His title is Death. Expert in hand-to-hand combat and weaponry. Served in the Marines as his brother did, however. He ended up doing a lot of black ops stuff for the CIA, realized that the good guys didn't pay as much, but was also psychotic. He also has a thing of being a ladies' man. Broke up a marriage or two, but has also been known to kill entire families of women who are not impressed by his charms. He usually assaults the woman and makes the family watch, then kills the family making her watch, before finally killing her. He is in essence a serial killer with the training of the United States government. He is under suspicion of killing over 600 in the past 10 years alone, stateside. His method usually involved 8. Grouting the victim as he assaulted her, causing her to die by suffocating on whatever he used to kill her. Todd looked at Karen and saw the tints in her face, but he also saw the resolve as she spoke up. I don't think there needs to be any safe words for this piece of shit. How about you guys? Todd and everyone nodded their head in agreement and looked at Karen with a sense of pride. All right, now we talk about the manpower they got, or the muscle Franklin has made for them over the years. The brothers don't do jobs together much, so Franklin has his own army. They consist of guys from the underworld looking for a buck, or men that were once under his command, assist him in whatever atrocity that can be thought up. Now we know they have a safe house in a valley in Travis County. Place has a main house and barracks on the property. They have about 50 men total, including guard posts on the north and south sides, and a state-of-the-art surveillance system. But we got friends in high and low places to help us out with that. We hit them in the dark. First, we have access to their account. We can freeze pay and their navigation, making the incentive to be a bit low for help to come. We also give these clowns a reason to stay longer. They are getting paid per day. When payday hit with no pay, they're going to want to know why and stay. That's when we move. Once the signal is set, we set off the EMP signal. Our friend has been working on this little baby for a few years. Todd pulls out what looks like a walkie-talkie, yet it was anything but. This thing will shut down anything that is not an airplane in a mile radius. More than enough. After that, I cut the power core of their generator. When the place is dark, take the night vision goggles from your compartment and move in. We will also need a pair of eyes. 2 for offense, 1 for defense. Robin and Karen will take the north side sniper position, while Justin and Raul will take the south. This will give us the kill box we need. Me, Tim, and his men will take the fight to them. When they get enough damage, we will come in. Soon as we are inside the building, kill anything that isn't us. We have a window of 30 minutes to do this, and they cannot know what hit them. Everyone in this room can do this, and everyone has a reason to. We can hit them early morning tomorrow at 2. Anyone got any questions? Suddenly there was a knock on the door. When Tim said come in, it was Alexis, the same woman who killed Nala earlier. She gave a grim look to Tim and Karen spoke. Alexis, what is it? She didn't say anything. She just gave an angry yet sad look and played the recording. When it played, Todd recognized the voice of Franklin. Even after all these years, he still hears the same sick bastard's voice and see his face in the backseat of the tapped car. So, they want the kids to, huh? What are their names again? Mark and Patrick. Said they have a few clients who will pay top dollar for them somewhere overseas. Kids with blonde hair and blue eyes are like gold over there, I guess. You know what's funny? Their mom got killed by a friend I know. I even used the same move I taught him. Would you believe he was the attorney general? Ah, but the poor bastard done go himself done in by someone. Anyway, I guess little boys with blonde hair and blue eyes are like gold overseas. They are going to get pretty penny for them, and we get a cut as well as the pay for killing the problems. I think I'm going to take my time with the one called Karen though. It will be a shame killing her when I'm done, but she and her ex-hubby can be rest assured that their darling boys will be in good hands. When the recording ended, Karen had a look in her eyes that no one had ever seen. This was not the look of a sexual nature, or the look of one who wants peace. This was the look of someone who wanted to destroy the one on that recording, who wanted to see him suffer and his burning, dismembered corpse beneath her feet. This was the look of a mother who would fill entire graveyard to protect her children. Karen then goes up to leave. Todd came to comfort her, but she lightly brushed his hand. Todd, I'm all right, I swear. I'm going to go see the boys, spend some time with them, and tell them I love them. Then I'm going to find you and do the same. But tomorrow morning, I'm taking my rifle and looking for the bastard that threatened to do to my babies what was done to me, and blow his brains out. Todd smiled, then turned to everyone. Get some sleep, people. We leave in 8 hours. And with that, the plan was set. That morning, Franklin was drinking his tonic and gin. He was contemplating his next move. On the table, he was looking at the pictures of Karen and her family. He was thinking of himself where he remembered her from. He was talking to a contact when the line was dead suddenly. What the hell? I know the battery was full, and this is a new phone. Then suddenly the power went out. What the hell? He then began to hear what sounded like pebbles hitting a window, but nothing was broken. It was not until he saw the bodies lying on the ground outside. Jeb, get. The explosion at the kitchen door cut off his words, knocking him across the room and knocking him out before he could finish his command. A man in black tactical gear zip-tied his hands and put a hood over his head, securing him in the area before moving on. Jeb heard the explosion from his bed and soon got his M60 from the side of his bed and made his way downstairs. Frank, where the hell are you? Frank, damn it, answer. He was soon struck in the back of the head, not knowing where it was coming from. The M60 machine gun feels from his hands, as useless as its former welder now. Jeb looked up just to see the steel toe boot going across high face. He too was secured. The men on the ground had no idea what was happening. Their leader was down, so no orders could be given or shared. Only death and confusion. One man was cut down by a short sword, just to have his comrade shot dead by his sidearm in the same moment. Another man was shot by a sniper, his body dropped with his brain matter leaking from his head. A group of men tried to stop one man in all black and tactical gear. The man took another man's arm, breaking it easily, then taking his weapon. He then turns the man into a human shield, protecting him from the oncoming shots. Then with expert precision kills the one who tried killing him. Seeing that his human shield is still alive, he blows his brains out with the same gun he stole, then continues his assault. These men are used to being the ones who kill without being seen, catching many a target off guard. But now they are the one being brutally massacred. The soldiers of fortune were caught completely off guard. Being killed by these men in black? No. Monsters. They were monsters. Jerry was up as soon as the explosion was heard. He immediately went for his sniper rifle under his bed and went for the self-made hole in the wall. But before he could even pull the trigger, the bullet entered his brain. A look of shock and surprise hit his face. Alex was in the process of putting up his car when the explosion happened. But before he could move, he suddenly found himself grabbed, handcuffed, and thrown into his car. Then man wearing a hazmat suit and mask opened a small canister. Alex's face turned to dread. He knew it was highly toxic. He killed many a person with it. He would even laugh at fathers who crawled to their dead family in vain to help them. The canister was then thrown inside the car, with the door shut. Once shut, the car was doused in gasoline. Then a tool and piece of wood were placed in the gas tank. Alex could only wait in horror and in dread as he felt his lungs liquefied, knowing he would die here, either by explosion or by the toxin. The explosion was decided his fate for him, as his toxic body was consumed by flames. Robin fires each shot with deadly accuracy. Each shot a kill, no exception. She watches the enemy below as they try in vain to find out where the shots are coming from. It will not work. She and Karen are in heat-shielding camouflage in the dark. Karen has never killed anyone before. But with the horror she went through years ago, and the training that Todd and Robin put her through, it was no longer a hurdle. When her bullet went through Alex's skull, there was a moment of humanity. But then she remembered that recording, about her children being used to the same way she was. Then all sense of seeing humanity in such people were gone. She along with Robin were death in the dark for the enemy below. The same was said for Justin and Raul. Each shot a kill. Each shot someone's last moment on this earth. They had the listed number of men on this site. There would be no survivors. The sniper makes an excellent but deadly job of making a kill box while not shooting allies. Todd was engaging a group inside the main house. He had run out of bullets when he felt the gun in the back of his head. That's enough, dickhead. Put it down. As Todd dropped the weapon, he suddenly moved his head away from the barrel while slamming his left elbow on it. He then makes a strong and fast uppercut to the man's face, breaking his nose in the process. As he is dazed, he then removes the weapon from the man, then hits him with the gun butt, knocking him to the ground. He then shoots 3 men coming in the room dead. When it's over, he shoots the man on the ground dead, then moves on. Tim is in close quarters with an enemy. He can't reach his weapon, despite the enemy having his. Tim struggles for control, but the man is a fighter. Tim then takes out his short sword when the man is about to shoot, cutting off his fingers. Before the man could scream, his head is removed from his shoulders. This night will be bloody. It will be bloody indeed. The bodies will be destroyed as well as all the traces of a battle. It will just be an empty lot that the fire will leave behind. A mystery for all to wonder. Franklin and Jeb were awoken with a cold bucket of water, handcuffed and chained to the floor. Both hands and legs were secure. When they awoke, they saw 3 people. A man and woman they never met, but it was the other man that made Franklin's calm charter turn into a raving monster. You. I'll kill you, bastard. You kill my dad and brother, you. Which one? Todd asked coldly. Franklin was taken aback. Suddenly he saw 2 things that shook him to his core. On his lap, 2 pairs of hands. One was burned. They are the other normal. But it was then he knew his family was dead. Before he could react, he saw his brother's head blown off with a single shot from a sawed-off. Franklin was now terrified. Wait. Oh God, wait, damn you. I'll talk, just give me a chance. I'll tell you whatever you want to know. I can even tell you where the bitch lives, the client I mean. She the head of this man-hating group. I can show you. We already know Frank. The cold words leave Todd's mouth like ice in a freezer. Frank has his brother's brain matter on his lap as he staggers his words. But then he looks at the man and woman standing next to Todd. Then it dawns on him. You are Tim and Karen, my targets. I mean employers. Oh, the hell with it. I'll do the job for free, just. Karen then plays the recording of Frank and Alex talking about selling Tim and Karen's boys to the black market. How they joked they would be used like their mother. Karen then took Louisville Slugger baseball bats and began beating Frank to an inch of his life. When it was over, Franklin was battered. Every bone in his body was broken, from toe to jaw. But they didn't want to kill him, not yet. Karen stood in front of him with a control device in her hand. You taught him how to kill others. Taught him how to kill me. Franklin was battered and confused, then Karen spoke. Your old buddy, the former and dead AG. Frank's heart ran cold. Suddenly Karen hit a button on the control. Frank suddenly felt something tight around his neck. The crane lifted him from the ground, tightened up the leather strap around his neck. His hands and legs were still bound, yet he tried in vain to get away. His eyes turned red as they bulged in his socket. Despite being bound, his feet danced in the air, until there was no longer any air in his lungs. And then, it was over. The brothers' bodies were disposed of. As with their men earlier, there would be no trace of them. No one would talk about this night ever again, and the things that have transpired. In her room, Robin lay in bed with Andy. She had finished making love to him. Their kids were down the hall. I'm turning in my gun and badge. Andy was surprised and wanted to talk, but Robin stopped him. My parents and Xavier, Andy, I have done all I could on this side of the badge. I can't do any more for the secrets and things I have done. Please understand, baby. Andy placed his hand on her cheek and kissed her. You don't have to explain a thing, beautiful. As it so happens, I have an opening for a field agent. With certain benefits, I think a recently retired Texas Ranger who has over 5 years under her belt has a decent retirement package, along with working a job I know she will like. Robin smiled and kissed Andy. Sign me up. Karen laid with Todd, not saying a word, tears leaving her eyes. Hold me, please, baby, just hold me. And he did just that. He knew he would be there for her as she would for him, but most importantly for her boys, for their boys. And he would do what he did tonight 1,000-fold if it meant protecting them. This night was hard. This night was bloody. But most importantly, this night was over. As the weeks passed, things go back to normal. Eventually, the families that stayed on Tim's farm would go back to their homes. Justin would return to his town and his very thankful wife. He thanked everyone that took him into this fight and everyone who helped him. Karen and Todd returned to their home as well, their love for each other even stronger. Karen would share her experience with Todd and the therapist that aided her before. Their secrets would stay with them three alone. And in time, Karen would move past this, for she would do anything to make sure her boys were safe. Tim and Janine went back to their own lives, their love for each other even stronger, showing no signs of stopping. Her father Joe and his friends would leave the farm once everyone was safe. Andy would use his contacts in the State Department and Interpol and begin mass arrest for known agents of the terrorist groups. All over the world, agents of the Arrow of Artemis were hauled away or killed in vain attempts to shoot their way out. Institutions and business that were discovered to launder money for the organization were now under investigation of all law enforcement from around the world. News articles show up every explosion, tales of marriages that were destroyed because of them, and how the organization was linked to human trafficking as a side hustle to make funds for their empire. No matter how few may have gotten away, or how strong the organization once was, it was not a mere shadow of what it once was. Months later, a lot has happened between Megan and Sal. They both decided to go to talk to someone about these issues together. Bear, the owner and founder of a boarding school campus for unwanted children, was who they chose. Bear was not just a face, but a licensed psychologist and therapist. He advised them that there is still anger in their hearts. Rightfully, however, it is preventing them from moving on with their lives, preventing them from taking their next step with each other, and they must face it. It was then Megan and Sal decided to forgive their past. Sal met his daughter in the local park. She ran to hug him, but he placed his hand up, asking her to sit down. Then he spoke. "Hello, Vicky. I want this to be said by me so that there are no misunderstandings. I forgive you, Vicky." Vicky hugged her father, but there was no hug in return. She then looked at him with concern. "Dad? What is it? I thought you said you forgive me." "I do, Vicky, but I do not want you in my life anymore. I do not want to have a relationship with you anymore. I hope nothing but the best for you, Vicky. You were my little princess. Yet with your mother you were so cruel to me. And to top it off, called someone else your father, when all he did was bed your mom. I sacrificed for and loved you with all my heart and your mother, and you just crushed it with what you and she put me through. Yes, Vicky, I forgive you, but seeing you only causes me pain. Maybe one day we can have a relationship again. Maybe not. But right now, Vicky, my life is good right now. And right now, I do not want you in it." Sal got up to leave, but stopped when he heard Vicky's sobbing. "As the man who was once your father, I leave these words of advice. If you should ever find love, remember what me and your mom once had and shared, and how we loved you with all our hearts. Then remember the pain I endured due to you and your mother's cruelty, and what you are feeling this second as a result. Use this, what you feel now, as a tale of caution, to not take one's love for granted. Goodbye, Vicky. I loved you with all my heart." And with that, Sal walked away from Vicky's regretful cries. Elsewhere, Megan walked into an old bar that was empty around this time of day. There she saw a beautiful woman, blonde hair with a fit and lean figure. She then sat next to her and ordered drinks for the talk. Then she spoke. "Hello, Angela." Angela turned to face her sister and hugged her. However, Megan did not return the hug. Soon the women were joined by their mother, just so she could get the same response. They made their way to the booth. Megan then spoke. "Mom, Angela, I want to apologize for what I said." "Angela, regardless of what happened, you did not deserve what happened to you." Angela cried. "Thanks, sis, I want to apologize too. For everything." Her mother apologized for her actions as well. However, there was a sense of uneasiness in the air. "I came here today to forgive you both and move on. And I do forgive you. I have got no hate or hostility towards you. But with I don't want you in my life right now." There was shock and heartbreak written in the eyes of Megan's family. Her mom spoke up. "Megan, what are you talking about? How can you forgive us but not want to be in our lives?" Without raising her voice, Megan responded. "Because of the amount of pain and heartbreak you have brought to me. Mom, you cheated on Dad and allowed Angela to come up with that bullshit lie. I saw what that did to him. It crushed him. Then he finds the guy you're cheating on him with in your bed, and you, Angela, hid it from him. You knew but did nothing. I do forgive you both and genuinely wish you well. But there is no longer in us." Megan then stood up and paid the tab. "Take care of yourself, you too. I hope you grow from this." And with that, she walked out both the door and their lives. That night, she lay in Sal's arms. Both talk about how they said goodbye to their past and preparations for the future. "Sal, I won't lie. Today was one of the hardest in my life, besides losing my dad, that is. I know they hurt me and caused me grief, but they were still family. But I want peace, and with them in my life, I don't see them bringing that. Am I a bad person for that?" Sal kissed her softly. Absolutely not beautiful. You endured a shitload from those people. You have every right to not want them to be around you. In time you may let them back in, or not. Either way it is up to you. Just know whatever you decide, I'll be right here with you. Megan then kissed hard, looking deep into his eyes. I love you, Sal. I love you too, beautiful. Both lovers made love throughout the night, knowing that when they wake up the other will be there. They do not know what the future holds, but what they do know is that they will face it together. In time they would continue to build that loving bond, and from that bond would come something they never dreamed of, a loving family of their own, whom would arrive 9 months later. Meanwhile, Madeline had barely escaped the authorities, making it to a safe house in the countryside of Spain. She would live the rest of her life here, and start a new chapter of sisterhood, stronger than before. It still astonished her that a few people in the middle of nowhere can be such a thorn. They will all pay for this, she thought to herself. I'll kill every last one of those. Suddenly, she felt a thud in her chest, followed by 2 more. She looked down at the red pool forming in her blouse. She staggers in her chair and looks at the shooter. The woman is beautiful with her blue color eyes. Her body fits and leans, looking not a day over 25, with a silver streak line that goes down the middle of her hairline. Madeline recognizes her in shock. You? But why? The woman walks forward with her gun in her hand, not losing its direction. She answers, because all things that begin, eventually end, kid. The unknown woman then finishes it with a shot to the head. She then makes a call to an unknown number. It is done. You will find her in the kitchen. She then hangs up the phone. She looks at the body of what once was a powerful woman, perhaps the most powerful woman in the planet, now just another body, just like all the others. Then she goes into her pocket and pulls out an old black and white photo. The photo is that of a beautiful white woman smiling on a pouch of some kind. She is sitting next to a muscular black man. The woman tears up and says to herself, no, not just another body. After a few moments of looking at the photo, she neatly places it back into her pocket and walks away. Walks away from the life and world that once upon a time she was a part of. And with hopes, walking to a world where she can one day find what she wanted for so long. Freedom from the chains of her past. Dear listeners, please share your thoughts in the comments section below and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.